Right, okay, we're here with the last session of Curse of Strahd. It's not really a session, it's more a Q&A. But yeah, we have made it to the end of Curse of Strahd. Everyone failed except Ichiro, who got what he wanted, more or less.
Hey man,
Um,
Eirril didn't fail.
Iron didn't die.
Well, it depends on your definition of
Survived.
failure. He escaped.
Yeah.
I mean, you,
Depends
you
what
never
happens
killed Strahd, did you?
No.
No, I suppose
And his
not.
master's still dead as far as I know, so, you know.
There's always a part 2.
Return to the Curse of Strahd.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think let's start with Ichiro's epilogue, because Matt and I talked about it during the week. Matt, do you want to take us through it, or?
Yeah. So Ichiro takes the time to become a lich, and he also goes through and essentially accepts the rest of the powers bestowed upon the amber stones.
I assume the ones that still are there, because
Yes. So
Spiny
the
killed a
ones
bunch.
that Spiny killed. I got the gift bring people back to life. I was able to shield my mind. Also immune to psychic damage and divination spells. I got skeletal bony wings that sprout from my back, and I had to eat dirt or bones quite a lot.
Oh my god. Okay.
I could cast suggestion. I could walk on walls and ceilings freely. And if I was to die, I would be reborn again instantly for about three times, on top of whatever stuff I have as a lich.
Wow.
And then my charisma score went up by 4, and I could dominate people or something. It was like I had the power of domination.
That was kind of tied into like the charisma and suggestion.
Okay.
It was just like the word I used, but yeah.
Yep. And then so once Ichiro essentially got all the shit and felt he was like powerful enough to be like, okay, I'm gonna go to Ravenloft to try and get more lichy secrets. Strahd met him at the bridge of Ravenloft and was like, congrats, bro. You did good. We're cool, right? And Ichiro was like, yeah, just let me go and we'll be cool. And then so we did like a bomb ass handshake, and then Ichiro left. So Ichiro,
Fucking amazing. What a great way to end Curse of Strahd. Bomb-ass handshake. Oh my god.
That's amazing.
yeah. So you learnt some deep dark stuff about Strahd, which I'm sure will be revealed in the Q&A. And then Ichiro is just a lich bard in the world now.
Wow.
So
A lich bard. He can play xylophones on his own ribs.
So what Ichiro planned to do was to make essentially the Tomb of Annihilation, but as Ichiro's Tomb of like devastation kind of thing. So like traps everywhere, and so ominous music would start playing all of a sudden, and then nothing would happen. And then 2 seconds later, then something would happen, and just like something that would send people insane. And as time went on, more and more people would eventually try and like come along, and he would, if anyone was to succeed, he would the way he would try and pass it off would be like, wait, I'm not the threat here. Strahd is the threat. Congratulations, you passed my test. You are powerful enough to take on Strahd.
Wow.
That's cool. I like that.
So Ichiro would eventually like put in clues to how to best defeat Strahd, like what's the best things in the Amber Temple. Make sure you do something about Argynvost Holt, and like all the things essentially that he knew specifically about Barovia, because he didn't know we didn't go everywhere. Like he would point them to Mordecai, if they were to be successful, but he would try, and so he would send people over if they were successful enough. So it's this like twisted way to basically avoid death himself by just saying, Strahd's the real threat here. You just stronger now. Congratulations, you're welcome.
Wow.
Maui.
Yeah, and he also sought out and wiped out Claw's bloodline, just because for funsies, you know.
What the fuck? Seriously?
Wow.
Yeah, he did. Yeah,
Yes.
we spoke about this. So, Claw, I'm afraid your line has been
No!
wiped out.
And Ichiro was going to use that as a way for Strahd to let the people who won to get through further.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So to essentially say, because Strahd wouldn't know if Claus's line was dead. So by telling people, telling to the people who he thought were strong enough to go and take on Strahd, to say Ichiro tell Strahd to say that Claw's bloodline's gone. Thank Ichiro, and maybe that'll help Strahd let them through long enough to allow them to try and actually defeat Strahd in the end. Because in the back of Ichiro's mind was always trying to avoid the abyss, and if Strahd was eventually destroyed in the end, then Ichiro would have all the cards and would win completely. So it would still that would be the way Ichiro would try and get to win by trying. So
You cock.
Damn.
My
Because
entire
also-
bloodline.
Because also Claw was the king of nobody, and the only way he could be the king of nobody
Is if you kill
there was-
everyone.
Exactly.
Wow.
So, right, great, good, right. Just gonna tell you now, there's a lot of fucking kids you have to kill. He had a lot of kids.
That's fine.
Wow.
I mean,
Evil.
Ichiro
Ichiro-
is insanely powerful at this stage, so
mean,
I don't think they pose much
you
of
could
it,
just-
to be honest.
Yeah,
Claw-
that
Claw-
is insane.
T-Rex a
Claw-
lot.
I mean, Claw before was the most powerful. Essentially, why he was king was because he was the most powerful in the clan of the bloodline.
Hmm.
So, I'm not overly, you could definitely kill everybody else. Just
I mean, don't get me wrong. It's the best way that Ichiro did it. It could have been a lot worse. He could have subjected all of them, tortured them, and it could have got a lot worse.
Oh,
So
T-Rex trumped them as well.
that probably did happen, along with a lot of Lichy type things that are badass.
Evil
Oh,
shit,
yeah.
yeah.
just
I almost suppose you become like a
Just-
skeletal dinosaur.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, it's all bone theme now, like
Yeah,
the Hall of
wasn't
Bones.
bad enough that you killed us in cold.
You were in the way. That's all it was.
Mm-hmm.
Xyril would not have gotten in the way,
And then-
man.
And then you're all in the way, and then it just meant that to make the story better, it just had to be that way. It was just no hard feelings. It's just
It's nothing
Terrible.
personal.
It's nothing personal.
Just had to
It's just
die.
business. It's just good business.
exactly. It's just good
Just good
business.
business.
Okay, so that is Ichiro's epilogue. So yeah, quite funny.
Wow,
Um,
teething at that.
it came off quite well at the end. I mean, yeah, Strahd let him leave Barovia because having a super powerful lich running around.
I mean, he
I
could
don't
have
think
got
one of you
killed,
kill
surely.
the other. I think most likely it would just be like an eternal stalemate, and it's
Oh,
not what
right.
he wants. So
Oh yeah, because he'll just keep coming back, won't he?
Was he threatened at all by Ichiro and all his power?
I think threatened is too strong a word, but I would say Strahd's definitely wary, of someone that powerful, because he's not just the fact that he's a lich, it's the fact that he's a lich with intent against Strahd potentially, and he's got all the additional gifts from the Amber Temple. Because as you may well have guessed, the skeleton man that you guys wiped out, he was a lich, but he was a much more weakened lich, and he knew Strahd when he had his memory, but he had no interest in doing anything with Strahd. He was happy to just stay in the temple. So he was kind of like just doing his own. But yeah, okay. Shall we go on to the questions then?
Right, questions, yes.
Cool.
Am I just-
What about Eirril's?
So Ichiro is a bit different.
Is it
You
worth
can't-
discussing
I
at
suppose you
all,
can't
or
really reveal it, can you? Because obviously that
I
would
mean,
be about.
all I'll say is, which is basically all I've told Dan, because I said to him we'll talk about it closer to the time, is that Ichiro will be summoned back to the Radiant Church, and he will basically undergo a sort of tribunal for them to kind of investigate like what happened, how he has came into possession of the orb, and if he was responsible in any way for what happened to Asifa. So
I mean, in some ways, yes. He's gonna have to do a lot of deception,
yeah.
I think, to try and survive.
I don't think.
but my thinking with that is closer to the time. We'll actually expand that a little bit. So I'll talk to Dan about that. Cool.
Should I ask these in any particular order, or shall I just go top to bottom?
I mean, a lot of it's in my head anyway. I just wrote some quick notes just to help organize my thoughts. So it's up to you.
Okay,
Just, like, mark
I'm
them off or
just going to
something.
start at the top.
Okay.
What was at the end of the Amber Temple? Can we see the full map?
So you guys actually pretty much reached the end. So I was surprised by this a little bit, but yeah, I'll show you. So if I reveal everything,
Ooh.
Oh wow.
so there was an additional room that you guys didn't go to. Additional few rooms actually, which you guys didn't go to.
So it's like the right side of the temple.
Yes, exactly. Dan, that
Yep.
amulet you had would have allowed you to control a shield guardian, which you can look up if you want. They're quite strong.
Wow.
Oh, Shield
So-
Guardians are awesome.
Yep.
That'd have been
AC
useful
17, 142 HP would have been very helpful to you.
against
Wow.
a certain dinosaur. That'd be very helpful.
Yeah. So it's a shame. Yeah, you can look it up, but it's a shame you didn't go there. There are a few additional gifts, and Matt, this is where Ichiro would have gone as well to pick up some of the extra gifts. Unbeknownst to you guys, Spiny was destroying the sarcophagi in this room here, down the hole. So this
So
is
what
where
were
he
they?
flew down.
Hmm.
So those were the first three things I read to you. So that's, oh sorry, not including resurrection. So that's psychic damage, power of flight, and the suggestion one.
That was destroyed.
What were the evil parts
Oh
of
sorry.
those?
Oh sorry. No, I misunderstood your question. What do they do? Because obviously you couldn't have got them because they were destroyed.
Yeah.
Let me pull it up for you.
I'm actually surprised Spiny was able to destroy them because they're considering Amber. And
So
he
the
can only
book
deal 1d4.
actually does give AC and like
Alright.
health for those things, but it was
Okay.
quite high. They had like 100 health or something.
I'm
That
surprised.
would have taken a while
Would
with the
have been there a
1d4.
while, yeah.
Yeah.
So sorry, Matt.
Pickaxe.
Those sarcophagi allowed you to cast contagion as an action, and you would
Ooh.
have reeked of filth. Drawback.
Makes sense.
Given Lich.
Another one let you cast lightning bolt,
Ooh.
but one side of your face would have essentially had a stroke. You would have it would have been like paralyzed and lost all feeling.
Damn.
Wow.
Some of these are just
Well,
brutal.
If he's a Lich, he's not really got anything there anyway. But yeah,
But it would take
And-
time for it to be like a skeletal person. That...
I suppose.
Some of the drawbacks Matt would have got were offset by the fact that he was a lich. Like one of them, Matt, was like your eyeballs melt, but you're a lich, so I didn't.
That just adds to the flair, really, doesn't it?
It just got you
Uh,
closer to being a lich.
Yeah.
and the
That's a
final
flavor,
one,
that's a flavor text.
the final one allowed you to cast Raise Dead.
Ooh.
And the drawback was your eyes glow a sickly yellow, and you also get the trait. If I help someone, I expect payment in return. Which you did anyway. So,
Does that change anything?
I don't think they would have changed much for Ichiro.
no, probably not. So yes, that was the rest of this bit. If you had broken down this door, there was a big necrotic trap which would have triggered. And let me reveal something. This is the radius of the trap. So
Oh,
everybody
damn.
standing there would have been
30 feet.
Would have been.
had a bad
Would
time.
have been all of this.
Is that
Yeah.
entire section just like a massive booby trap?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, and beyond it are just like archives and like RP flavor stuff.
Oh my god, not worth the damage.
Nothing, yeah.
Well, it could be interesting if you're exploring, but
So
nothing
was-
material.
Was there anything like useful in terms of like level ups up here then?
So that is actually one of the later on questions. And upon completing that long rest you guys started to do outside, you would have leveled up.
Ah.
Oh shit.
That would have been a great level up.
So yeah, you would have leveled up because I would have considered that you cleared enough of the temple.
Oh,
It's
okay.
worth, like, a
So
level
that
up.
was everything then. Fair enough.
This room here was just some more gifts. So sorry, Ichiro would have gone here. There were like a
Probably.
bunch of zombie type things in here.
They look like
Uh,
ghouls.
Yep, but they wouldn't have bothered you in your lich form, so they would have, or just step to one side.
I just managed like it's like the Emperor in episode 9.
There were a few encounters I actually hand waved a little bit. So if you look over here, there were some poltergeists in this room, but I
For
didn't
a
want
second
to.
there, I thought I
bog you
said
down.
there's 39 of them. I think, oh my god.
That's just the map
This
indicators.
is just for.
And I considered doing this when you were all really low health, but I thought it'd be too harsh. There were some witches down here who were trying to get into the room, and when I said, that thunder thing that Matt did made a big boom, I was about to roll them in, and then I thought it's a bit harsh, so I didn't include them.
Oh, I see.
Especially because the Amber Golem beat the shit out of you guys, so I was like,
Yeah.
okay, well,
And you
I'll
knew,
let
and
you
you
on.
knew I was likely to come and kill you.
And I knew that,
Why?
it was probably going to do something, so I was like, okay, I'll let it play out. So
I don't-
mhm.
I've got another question. I'm not sure if it's in the actual questions, but that broken one over there.
Yep.
What was that?
So you never know. It was an interesting theory you guys had, but in the book, all it says is this vestige was broken in the past and it's escaped. So
So-
similarly, the ones that Sunny broke,
Look like that
like
now.
nobody will be able to use them again.
Yeah. Okay.
And on the top floor, you guys pretty much did everything.
Yeah, it was just the
um,
bit on the right that we didn't do, I believe.
Yeah, I assume it was like the stairs down to the
Yeah, looks, yeah.
other
Yeah,
one.
exactly. Yeah. So if
Hmm.
I reveal all this bit, there was a
Yeah,
secret
because
door
we can
there.
see that secret door. Yeah.
And there was another golem which was here, but it would have had a
Oh,
bit less
God.
health than the one you fought before.
Right.
But
Nice.
yeah, that's pretty much the temple. You guys did most of
What
it.
was under here? This other secret door that Ichiro saw but couldn't open.
Which one?
The one
Oh,
on
top left.
Ah, so
on
this
top.
is the Lich's Phylactery or whatever it's called.
Oh, really? Okay.
So if you got there, so I kind of mentioned to you, Matt, just in like a throwaway line there, while you were
Yeah.
making your Lich thing here, the other Lich would start reforming.
Mm.
It's
Oh,
because,
that's because.
exactly, yeah.
That's what like contains his essence. Soul.
I would have if Ichiro had found that himself, he would have destroyed it and replaced it with his own.
I kind of assumed that you like reused it while making yours. So yeah, in like my headcanon, like that Lich has been killed.
Oh look, the T-Rex is still there.
Oh no.
Yeah.
dear.
T-Rex.
Against Chlor and Xyril.
And what was in that chest?
Ah, yes. So
And,
it was.
That is a question.
Yeah.
The chest that everyone tried to open, but even
I mean,
Even a nat
was
20 couldn't do it.
Was it even
So
openable?
So no. So what you could have done is you could have broken it open, but your mistake, well, not really mistake, but you know, the thing that you couldn't do was move it off of its position on the ceiling, because it was sealed there by sovereign glue. And if you don't know what that is,
right,
you
yeah, I
basically
do,
need like
yeah.
wish or something to get rid of it.
Yeah, there's like a specific
Okay.
solvent that you can. There's like one other magic item that can cancel it out, and that's it. Unless you have that one thing. Yeah.
So
So what was in the chest?
So nothing was in the chest. What would have happened? The
Oh.
floor of the room would have vanished, and you would have fallen like 40 feet down into the lower area. And if you had fallen, I would have made the poltergeist attack you, or some other creature attack you. So it
Oh my God.
would have been pretty bad. You would have taken a lot of fall damage.
That would have been hilarious though, just to be like to see like Chlor and was it Xyril
Yeah.
just go.
Well, this is,
Right,
I was
right,
outside of the
Testament.
room. I was outside of the room, so you know.
That's funny.
And then just be like, they're dead probably. Oh well.
So yeah, baited by the cool chest.
Yes, definitely. Okay. What's the deal with Rictavio? How did he keep a severed head alive?
So Rictavio is not Rictavio. So when you guys met him, he's like a circus half elf guy with like a tiger.
Yeah.
So Rictavio is actually Rudolf van Richten, and he's a legendary vampire hunter.
Oh, Van
So-
Richten.
Yeah, so he spent
Yeah.
his entire life basically going around hunting vampires, and Strahd is like his ultimate sort of challenge.
Should have recruited him, man.
Wow.
And that's why Strahd wanted you to bring him to him, because he just basically wanted to torture him horribly and kill him. Yeah, he had a bunch of cool stuff. Like he had some scrolls which would like let him summon like skeletons and things like that.
It's another ally we should have grabbed.
So Rictavio, in the book, they kind of make it seem that like he's impossible to get as an ally, because basically Rictavio is cursed, or at least at least he believes he's cursed. It's a bit ambiguous, but his curse is that if anyone ever gets close to him, or something happens to them, so he's kind of struck out on his own. But whether that's true or not is kind of ambiguous. So if you guys were convincing enough or heartfelt enough, I would have allowed you to convince him. But it would have been tricky.
Where would he have been? Because obviously we had no idea.
So he did get your letter, and he was currently fighting werewolves for a lot of the campaign.
Vampire hunter.
So after Valaki
werewolves.
got ruined, he just started hunting werewolves.
So basically, after Valaki got ruined, he went to his tower for a bit, which is where you guys found him. Spent a bit of time there. So if you had gone a bit earlier, you would have met him. But because you waited a while, he went out and he was trying to gather information off werewolves about anything he could use against Strahd, because he wasn't aware of the Amber Temple, because only Casimir knew about that.
Assumedly, then Esmeralda fled Valaki and found Rictavio
She-
with the monk.
Tried to find him, but he was avoiding her because he doesn't want her to get close to him.
Ah.
So she came to Barovia looking for him, but he was avoiding her.
Oh,
What was the cart in front of his tower then? Is that his tower?
So that was
his cart?
Esmeralda's cart, actually. So that was
Oh.
her cart, because she also went to the tower looking for him shortly after she left you.
So where was? Okay, so she just went there, left her cart there, and then fucked off.
Yep.
Okay.
She doesn't really
How-
need the cart.
how does she know Rictavio? Do they have like a pass or something?
So she's his apprentice originally.
Ah.
So they spent some time together, and he basically taught her like everything she knows. But
Cool.
yeah, then he left her.
Smexy deeds.
Mm.
Did she survive?
She did not. She ended up getting hunted down by Strahd.
Poor
Did
no,
Sarge.
she
Rictavio
did.
survive?
At this stage you guys are at in the campaign, he was alive, but eventually Strahd would hunt him down and kill him. So, to all intents and purposes, he too has been killed.
Everybody dies.
Yeah, I was gonna say, we fucked a lot of people when you did that, didn't you, Ichiro?
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, there's nowhere to
You
go.
make it
for
sound,
Rovio,
you
right?
make it sound like Ichiro cares. So
no, good point. Good point. Okay. Did Strahd do anything to Xyril when he revived him outside of the madness?
So the only thing he did to you, Xyril, is he took your blood and he used it to scry the party and keep tabs on them.
Oh.
So Dan,
Wow.
when you got your gift,
Yeah. I
remember
stopped.
you blocked it, and that was you blocking Strahd from tracking you.
God, this is blood.
So this is kind of like why he always knew where you guys were.
So
I
it was
don't know if
Xyril
you
that
remember
he was
way
tracking.
back in like session 1. It was either Jafar or Eirril, like somebody in like a tavern like pricked you or something like that. I think it might have been Jafar.
Probably.
And he kind of let it go. But that was also one of Strahd's spies collecting blood for him.
Wow.
Like he could track you guys like wherever you went, basically.
Wow. So, like, so he scried on their blood. Okay,
Yep.
so you got fucked pretty early on.
Pretty
Great.
much. Yeah, sounds like
I mean,
it.
That's
that's the
also why
nature
he
of the
took your hair, a bit of your hair, Xyril. He ripped some of it out.
Bastard.
Just like a double insurance.
Genius.
I thought he was gonna make a voodoo doll and be like, haha.
I thought maybe like he was gonna had left some kind of like control thing in me and could summon
Yeah.
could control me when it mattered the most, kind of thing.
I wanted a way to make Strahd kind of seem like a bit more omniscient without actually just cheating and just saying, oh, he knows this. So
Right.
yeah, that's why he made an effort to get something of yours so he could track where you guys went.
So is that
Speak-
something extra that you did?
Yes. Yeah. So
Oh, cool.
it's kind of covered later on in the questions, but I'll mention it now that. Oh, I'll wait. Actually, I'll wait because it's like a whole topic on its own.
Well, on that, just slightly quickly, when Variel saw something following them,
Mhm.
and then forgot about it almost immediately, was that him scrying, or was that something else?
That I
Mm.
actually forgot about that. That was something else. That was the abbot at Kresk,
Oh,
He was following.
and
Interesting.
he was secretly, essentially, an angel in disguise that had been corrupted by Strahd. So he was a diva, I think it is, or deva, or
Deva,
something.
yeah.
Deva, yeah.
So he was a deva in disguise, and he became aware that you had arrived here, and he had some clues about your past because he could recognize you for what you were.
Oh, because oh, right, and he's a. Okay,
Yeah.
got you. Right,
Yep.
okay.
But
So what was all
he
the
didn't
thing...
have.
Sorry,
Mhm.
carry on.
No. What were you saying?
Because just to further on that, because you were saying like, so something was following us, which was him, but then there was
something was
blocking.
protecting us
Something
from.
was blocking
Yeah.
him.
Something was protecting us from like a lot of bad shit because
So
they were very bad
can
people.
I just do a little bit of what Variel saw, and then I suppose Haiss, you could expand on it. But essentially, the souls of people you pissed off and killed were following you,
Yep.
waiting for your souls to be dead, so they could then drag you into a torturous afterlife, which is essentially what happened to Jafar.
Well, it's happened to all of you now, right? So...
Actually, yeah, it's happened to all of you.
Well, I imagine it'd be a lot of the people that Xyril's absorbed. I would imagine as well that have been followed. That's what I thought when you said something else was trying to get at me, which it was all those.
So basically, what was happening is there were a few things going on. The Dark Powers are watching you. Strahd himself, as I've just said, was scrying you occasionally, and whenever Strahd makes his presence known in like the ethereal plane, other things clear out. So this was kind of something I was going to lead on to later. Strahd had a plan for you, which is a custom thread I had for you guys, because he can appear in disguise as other deities. So I was going to have the Morning Lord appear to Arthur and the Night Mother appear to Ichiro. But I never got the chance because you guys started using Tiny Hut. Strahd couldn't get through it.
Oh, okay.
So it was
See,
quite
Tiny
funny.
Hut
I was
was
waiting
good.
for one night. I had it typed up and everything, the dreams. But
Tiny
never
Tiny
not
Hat
used-
saved your asses.
Tiny Hut's really good.
Because he was
You're-
basically
you're
going to lead you
welcome.
guys. So he was going to try and turn Ichiro against the party by kind of implying you should. Oh, that was it, Matt. He wanted you to take the staff, which you ended up taking anyway. So.
Oh, right.
Mission
And
success.
Claw, he wanted you to go to this shrine in the forest, which basically would have given you a cursed weapon, which would have been quite bad for you in the long run.
Interesting. But would it have been good enough in the short run?
It would have been good in that it was powerful, but the curse would have been quite bad.
What is the
Oh.
curse?
I never actually got that far. I had like a rough idea, but
Okay. Oh, so this is a homebrew curse.
yeah, this is homebrew. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
So,
Practice for
yeah,
later.
I never got to do it because you started using Tiny Hut.
Wow.
Tiny
Excellent.
So what was able to get through Tiny Hut then to
Oh, yes.
disrupt the long rests?
So you guys, this made sense to me. So you guys can tell me if I did it wrong or not. But the way I looked at it is basically the hag was following you constantly, and when you cast Tiny Hut, she was next to you already. She was within the hut,
Right.
so that's why she was able to keep draining you guys.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
She's
Yeah,
already
that
in the
does well.
hut.
Yeah,
Whereas
she's
Strahd, he's got better things to do than like just follow next to
Yeah,
you all the time. So
That's fair.
interesting.
Because literally, from what Haiss explained, the ethereal plane, it literally is like
It's a mirror. It's like a you're like.
I'm standing here. I'm standing here.
Yeah.
yeah, literally. So she was just, I mean, she hated you, so she was just following you guys around trying to kill you.
What? Can we skip to? I'm just gonna skip one question as we're on the hag already. Did breaking the hag's eye stop her being able to affect us? And as a caveat to that, what happened to the hag?
So this is funny because there were a few different reasons why the hag seemed to sometimes not go for you guys. So the first time when you guys were on your way to Castle Ravenloft, she didn't want to go near Strahd because he would not have been cool with someone sneaking around the ethereal plane. So she left you guys to it.
Mm-hmm.
Then you blinded her, which gave you 24 hours because obviously the way I was doing it, she was walking around next to you. Obviously she's blind, she couldn't do that. The next couple times, that's because Strahd was trying to contact you to use he has a spell called Dream, which is the spell I was going to use to impersonate the deities.
That's
And
cool.
again, she's not going to fuck with you if Strahd's like sniffing around. And then you got too close to the Amber Temple, so she also wasn't going to go near you. So
Ah,
she would have actually started haunting you again once you got back to like a normal place.
interesting.
Interesting.
I see.
So it's kind of just like a funny series of events.
Okay.
It's funny that happened up.
Yeah.
So she's still out. She's still out there.
She is alive, yes. Strahd wouldn't have killed her. So, but obviously her coven is kind of broken now. So I imagine she would just try and rebuild it.
Yeah, try to get more witches.
Would she have gone back to to kill those kids?
Yeah,
Because we kind of left them in
yeah.
in the tower.
that's true. They were killed by a group of werewolves, unfortunately.
Oh wow.
Is that in the book? Is that a thing?
No, that was me.
That's just
I mean,
you.
if werewolves are in the area, they're gonna smell blood, aren't
That's
they?
what I was gonna say. Like.
Okay,
that was a very
so what
specific
happened to
thing.
the children left in the windmill? Let's
take
cross
that
that one off.
Yeah. That's,
The kid with a little axe. Don't come in. Don't come in.
That was
If it
great.
makes you feel better, the girl wasn't too fast because she didn't have any soul.
She's soulless, yeah.
Yeah, but the guy was-
Okay.
yeah.
It's
Why
like that
did the
scene from
bull-
Sin City, you know,
sorry.
the assassin from Sin City when he's getting eaten by the wolf, just motionless. That's
Oh,
what that
I
is.
haven't seen it.
Oh, it's a good film.
Why did the pool in Kresk have the same energy to Ravenloft?
So this is a bit of me taking liberties with the book. So in the book, the pool just has like kind of regenerative powers, equal to like restoration or something. So I kind of took a bit of liberty with it, and I said that the pool has had its powers suppressed by Strahd.
Right.
And if you guys had investigated it a bit further, you could have worked possibly with the abbot or anybody else of that inclination to restore the power of the pool and make it like a powerful healing thing, with the intention that it would help Variel regain his. But that plot thread kind of got left because you guys didn't investigate the pool, so I never really developed it further.
Gain his what? How much are we? Okay. Well,
Not all
there's
of
a
it.
question.
not-
There's a question
yeah.
about Variel later, so I think we might as well.
Yeah.
We'll delve in as far as you see fit.
Yep. Some fun facts about the pool. If so, I've already mentioned Variel. If Irina was with you, she would have recovered her memories, and you would have had the option of reuniting her with Sergei, and she would have been able to escape Barovia permanently.
Oh wow.
Oh, cool.
Who's
Oh, that
Sergei?
makes sense.
You did. Sergei
we
is
just
Strahd's.
RP'd
Let's-
ourselves
Strahd's
out of
brother.
like.
So
every-
Sergei is Strahd's brother, who Strahd
So-
killed.
She was
Oh.
Titania.
She was Titania, yes. She
Yeah,
would have
yeah.
remembered that she was a
okay.
reincarnation. But
Wow, that is
she,
fucked up.
she would have had a chance to permanently escape Barovia.
So wait.
Right.
Is Sergei alive?
He's not. His spirit would have appeared to her in the pool, and you guys.
And allowed her to escape.
She would have wanted to go with him. You guys could have stopped her, but if you allowed her to go, then yeah, she would have escaped with Sergei. And
Is that
Strahd would have
only-
destroyed the pool in anger.
Would that only would have happened after we like restored Argynvostholt?
No, you could have done that before.
Okay.
Okay. Is there a radiant? Okay, so this is my question, and the reason I ask is 'cause you mentioned something to me, and I need to know: is there
There's
a
no good in this
radiant or
temple.
good.
It's all
There's no good. It's all good, right?
It's
Right.
all corrupting.
I'm amazed you said about. Okay, we'll get to that later.
Oh, what was the that picture that Ichiro got from that room full of food? That was.
Ah, yes. So it basically would have triggered a trap.
Oh god.
All
What
these
doesn't he say?
specters would have appeared and attacked you instantly.
Oh.
Wow.
Wait,
What if
what were they?
Wait, if I'd taken it or?
If you had taken it, yeah. If you took it as your lich form, they wouldn't attack you. But
I
yeah,
see.
if you had taken it as as the party, they would have all attacked you.
Okay, so here's my general opinion: just don't go to the Amber Temple.
Pretty much. Yeah. Just don't. There's no reason. Like, why?
Unless you know specifically which benefits you want.
But nobody
Which you
knows.
would
That's the
know,
thing, because
which you would
nobody
know.
It's a gamble.
The other thing is, generally, even with the ones you might want, it's still technically not good. So for a good party, you will go in there to get beaten the shit out of.
Yeah.
The
There's
hounds
no
are pretty
benefit.
badass.
And I think this is why I
Evil.
asked as well, like, what is at the end of it? Because I was kind of like hoping, like Argynvostholt, sorry, had an ending where you got the Sun Sword or something.
Right, yeah.
So I was expecting Ramona, yeah. I was expecting something like that here, but that's why I thought there were maybe more to it. But
So there is
clearly
one
there's
thing
just
you could
not.
have
There
got
is
here.
literally you just come in for the dark gifts and that's about it.
If you guys had, so this is a bit of homebrew for me. If you guys had managed to decipher one of the books in this, I have a supplement which I'm using for War of the Ages for the Book of Vile Darkness, which actually gives you some stuff you can do with it.
Oh, cool.
So if you had managed to decipher any of the books in here, I would have given you
Yeah.
the Book of Vile Darkness.
But I'm guessing that's like dispel magic would have been the only thing.
I would have accepted. So when I come up with this stuff, I'm kind of like, if you guys think of a clever solution which I think would work, I'll allow it. So if you had come up with something which reasonably I think would work, I would have
Yeah.
said that works.
It's hard though because counterspell has to.
Counterspell
be,
wouldn't have worked because
It's like
it has
what
to be
else do you
calm.
have apart from?
Ichiro had nothing in his arsenal to do.
Yeah,
that.
I think you would even need to spell magic. You could have gone to Mordekainem. He could have helped you.
Yeah, no,
Although you would have likely destroyed the
But-
book. Saw what it was.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if the book would have died if we left the room.
Yes, they would have. Yeah. So you need someone to come here and decipher it, or
Oh.
break the spell.
Mm.
Baba Yaga could have helped you, but she wouldn't. You'd have to like force her somehow. So.
And where would have Mordekainen gone? I know that's homebrew, but where would have Mordekainen gone to dispel Strahd's soul?
He would have gone into the room where you accepted the vampire gift.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, with the
Oh, yeah,
castle gift.
where Strahd initially accepted the gift. That's fair.
Yeah. Also, it's kind of
Um,
like the center of the dark powers, like they concentrated there in my head canon. So.
I don't think I've written this down, but I've just remembered it because you and I talked for a long time about me coming in as an NPC before coming in as a player.
Mhm.
With Casimir and his sister,
Yep.
what would have changed about the Amber Temple if we brought him along?
Okay, so Casimir, his goal was he didn't really care about defeating Strahd or anything like that. His actual goal was he wanted to bring his sister back to life, and he thought there was a way. So his sister is not actually dead. I don't know if he told you guys that.
No.
No, he said he stoned her.
That is true. He did stone her, but she's currently a banshee who's trapped in Strahd's castle in like a crypt somewhere. He's basically like tormenting
Banshee?
her.
Mm.
Yeah.
What's
So
a banshee?
It's like
He
a screaming female ghost, usually tortured.
Yeah, they're pretty horrible.
No,
So
All
he
I
wanted
think
to
was
go
Banshee
there
is the
and-
Halo.
not
Not
quite
like
that. No, not like that at all. That'd be
And
awesome if you had a
he
banshee.
actually was speaking to him in his dreams. She was basically begging him to kind of like save her and that how she like forgives him. Blah blah blah. So he wanted to come here and he wanted to save his sister. So the one that Dan touched, the resurrection one, that was the one he was after. He didn't know that that one specifically existed. He was just searching for a way to bring his sister back. And yeah, then afterwards he would have gone to Castle Ravenloft, attempted to bring her back, and she would have come back as an archmage.
Ooh,
Cool.
fancy.
This is my question because curiosity.
Mhm.
If Strahd comes back in 100 years anyway, is everything cursed even though he's dead, or is it just the curse returns when he returns?
So the curse, so the curse is, you know it. I'm assuming you refer to like the land being like all screwed up and stuff.
Souls, the mists, the not being able to die properly.
Not being able to
So
leave and
people
all
could
that
leave
business.
Barovia, the mist would have faded, the souls would still be trapped.
Interesting.
But everything else would have been lifted until he returned, in which case the mist would return, people would be trapped again, blah, blah, blah.
Why is it 100 years?
Don't know. The book just. It's not 100 years, actually. The book just says, like, years later,
Sorry.
I think.
I think I just put 100 years just because I think
You put in
remember something
100,
said.
100. You put 100 number and then the 100 word.
100,
100, 100.
I mean, to
100,
regain that
100.
strength.
Obviously, I was very focused on what I was doing when I was writing. What happened to? I can't remember how to pronounce this. Ishmark.
Ismark.
So it
Ismark?
actually,
And
says
who is
here
Ismark?
after a period of months, so it's not very long at all, Arthur.
Oh, it's after a
Months.
period of
Jesus.
months.
Yeah.
That's a bit harsh.
Wow.
What did he accept to be able to do that? Never mind.
Uh-huh.
What happened to Ismark?
So after he was basically beaten and thrown out of Valaki by Isaac,
God.
who coveted Irina, let's say.
Mm.
Yeah, inappropriate coveting.
God.
So Ismark
Yeah.
tried to go back to the village to see if he could rally anyone to help him get his sister back, and he was unfortunately intercepted by Strahd.
Mm.
And you would have met his mutilated corpse walking around the castle had you chosen to fight Strahd there.
Wow.
Oh,
Damn.
damn.
Wow.
Damn.
Why was Xyril drawn to the Amber Temple?
So Xyril obviously was an incubus,
Mhm.
or succubus, whatever the male
Incubus.
version is. Yep.
Yep.
So an entity in the Amber Temple could have offered you permanent youth and essentially like immortality or something like that. And they're aware of everyone who enters Barovia, so they were kind of trying to reach out to you and tempt you into picking it. But when you ended up with the madness, I kind of dropped that plot thread because obviously he didn't take anything seriously anyway. So
Yeah, I suppose
But
we
had
should
you
have picked
put
that
your
up
hand on the-
afterwards.
yeah, I kind of forgot about it to be honest. But had
Yeah.
you put your hand on the thing, it would have still offered the same thing.
Which one was it?
It's so the one that offers resurrection 3 times. I would have tweaked it slightly for Xyril because
Okay.
they would have recognized the fact that he's an incubus.
See, if he was drawn specifically to it,
Yeah, that was kind of my mistake. I should have said like the
yeah,
drawing you've been feeling is here, but I kind of
yeah,
I
as
forgot
well.
to do it.
I only
after
remember
the
this
madness.
afterwards. Like I remember, because you sent me a dream about it. That
Yeah. I mean, because
I
at the
mean,
start
you
we were
can't argue.
playing.
You can't argue part of the madness did break that connection.
Yeah, you could. Yeah.
maybe, yeah,
Mhm.
I mean, at the start we were doing this weekly,
yeah.
so there were a lot more plans for like continuity type stuff. But obviously, when we started not playing it as regularly,
Yeah.
that kind of stuff.
No,
I
that's fair.
didn't do as much.
Okay.
Like I'll tell you later on, but yeah, there was like some other stuff I changed.
When you say drawn to an entity, is the Amber Temple a singular entity, or like all the Amber Stones multiple entities?
So there's
'Cause
multiple
we
entities,
all got
but
names.
they collectively make up the dark powers.
Interesting.
So like a council.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, like an evil.
A council of darkness.
Yeah.
Sith.
Council of Evil Bastards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I'll tell you later. Yeah.
Is there
So
anything
secretive for a
major?
Q&A.
I was gonna say, I mean, it looks like we have time, unless it's super
Two things
complex.
you missed out on. Yes, the holy symbol of Ravenloft was a big one, and if you had this, I would have been more inclined to say I think you could beat Strahd.
Very
What
simple.
does it do?
I will reveal it to you.
Where is it?
It is in the castle. This was your final fortune card. I don't think you guys can see the notes. I'll read it
Is
out
it-
for you. So it's basically So interestingly, you need to be good at lines to wield this. I would have informed. So had you accepted those gifts,
That wasn't Ichiro.
I mean,
So
No.
basically,
None of
that
us.
wasn't Claw, that wasn't Ichiro. I don't think that was any of us.
No, I don't think any of us are good
At
aligned.
our current state, Variel would have been alright. Asifa would have been alright.
Yeah.
Sifa would have been.
What was Iral? Iral was chaotic neutral, right?
He was
I-
neutral, but then he was evil by the end.
Yeah,
By the end.
you all got warped. So I'll just give you a
Influenced.
quick rundown of the abilities. Hold vampires.
Wow.
Vampires and vampires spawn within 30 feet have to make a DC Wisdom saving throw. If they fail, they're paralyzed for 1 minute.
Wow.
Wow.
Turn undead, which obviously you know what that does. and it can also emit pure sunlight.
Wow.
Wow.
So this was a really good item.
That's
And this was
So
the
that was
final...
in the castle.
So the tarot cards are randomized. I didn't pick the location, so the one you drew for this one was somewhere in the castle. Yeah.
It says lurk in a hall of bones in the dark pits of his castle.
No, can you read out all the
Uh,
ones? I'll tell you which one it was.
The Sunstone?
High
Help in the fight against darkness, Saint Markovius. No.
No.
See a full house by a stone dragon. Go to a place of dizzying heights.
Yeah,
where the
Dizzying
light
Heights.
stone-
If you had gone to one of the peaks of the castle,
Oh, where the light stone is alive.
Oh, so it's because the
Ah.
Lightstone is in the holy symbol, assumedly.
yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh.
So you had the wrong Lightstone.
Yeah.
Mm.
we
Wrong
could- so we
Lightstone.
did the Argon Vustholt stuff completely like by accident then.
Yeah.
Wow.
I think we were mentioning like if
No, see a
when
full
we were in
house by a
Raven-
stone dragon. Almost.
we when we were in Ravenloft, we were when Haiss mentioned the height. I think me and Dan did say like something about dizzying heights.
That's why I was kind of like, it's really big, guys.
We just didn't click. Oh, we were shit at those cards.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I did kind of have to nudge
I
you
think-
along with.
I think
I mean,
Yeah.
part of that is because you weren't playing regularly.
yeah,
So
I think that's the biggest thing with the
fair.
cards. I think when you're going to drop
Yeah.
something like those in a campaign, like it's designed
Yeah.
to.
Which is why I gave you guys the midway nudge to kind of get you on the right track. Because I was like, fair enough, you're not playing regular, so I can understand it breaks like train or thought. Other than that, there were lots of magic items in the castle, different ones. Had you explored, you could have picked up a few. And there were a few in areas you never visited, which I think there's a question on later on about that. So I'll wait till then.
But in regards to major stuff we missed out, is that kind of it?
Nothing like major. There were like other weapons. Like there was a cursed spear you could have found, which was quite cool. And there was lots of things. There were lots and lots of items in the castle. If you'd explored the castle fully, you would have come out with a lot of magic items.
Is the castle kind of the main place for all the juicy stuff?
Yeah, because it's like Strahd's castle, isn't it? And
Yeah,
a lot of
just
his defeated enemies are there. Like Sergei's corpse is actually in there, and he's got like some super special plate armor.
wow.
And there's like all these cool maces and like swords and stuff. So yeah, there's a lot in the castle.
But then, how easy would it really have been to kind of go getting all that stuff? Like you're in his castle, like you can't.
True.
just-
So Strahd himself wouldn't have appeared and stopped you. He can't. He's kind of like toying with you. So
Right.
you would have run into obviously lots of
Which
things.
was
so
a
lots of-
Cephas contention.
Yeah, and Asifa was completely right. That Strahd would have easily killed you at any time if he wanted to.
Mm.
I mean, yeah, like now, as you now know, he knew where you were, all scrying you.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he could literally have ended us at any point.
Yeah, I mean, Strahd, he was being honest in the sense that he kind of, in some part of him, thinks he can find an heir. Okay, I'll say it now. So, what do you guys think is the curse of Strahd? Like on the land and stuff, I'm guessing.
Because
I
not
think-
not being able to leave and not being able to die, kind of the whole soul trap thing. I'd
Mm.
imagine.
Yeah, yeah.
We kind of discussed this, so I won't say.
Yeah, so Ichiro found out basically during his discussion with Strahd, but the true curse of Strahd is that basically when Strahd obviously accepts the vampire gift,
Mm.
and when he was murdered by some of his enemies, he came again as, you know, obviously like as a vampire, but the dark powers kind of cursed him in a big way, in that they completely trapped him in this land, so he can never leave, and they also won't let him die. So the curse of Strahd is really his curse, in that he can't die and he can't leave Barovia. So he's just stuck here eternally.
Which is kind of like where
Uh,
everybody else's problem is, really, I suppose, in a way.
He
Like,
kind of, I guess, yeah, he's kind of just brought everybody down with him, but it was kind of like punishment for killing Sergei. So
right.
Why would the dark powers punish him for killing Sergei?
I think it's kind of implied that like just because he's like done some evil shit, they kind of feed off that. Like that's why they made such a strong
I
pact
mean, he
with
killed
him
his
to make him,
brother, didn't he? So I mean,
because it
that's-
kind of like you know like
Well, it's quite
fans that
interesting because
darkness inside them.
with the vampire gift, I didn't expect Strahd to be. So Strahd got killed by people he hated brutally.
Yep.
And that's how he got the vampire gift. But then he also ended up killing someone he loved, so he achieved both things. So I'm quite surprised it then went.
Yeah.
We're
It's
now going to
more-
curse you.
So it's okay. So from the dark powers perspective, this is how I interpret it. It's not like a curse, but it's because what he did, because of all the things he did, was so like evil. They kind of were like drawn to that in a sense, I guess. You know, like kind of like
Like
fans that
feed
they-
off it.
Yeah, because they feed off of that darkness, and that's why Strahd is so central to this. Because you wouldn't have had the powers of Strahd. You would have become a vampire, but you wouldn't be, have all the extra powers he has.
Mm.
And that's because of his unique relationship with the dark powers.
So they basically he's like a darkness factory for them.
Yeah, kind of. He's like the
Yeah.
focal point. You can
Yeah.
imagine it that way. He's like the focal point of the dark powers in Barovia. And yeah, they refuse to allow him to die. So,
Because he's
Yeah.
just too goddamn delicious.
yeah.
That makes sense. That's
That's one
cool.
way to put it.
Mm.
Yeah. Was there anything we did that surprised you?
So this is like funny because I wouldn't say I was too surprised by anything. I did think it was
Too used
funny
to us as players now.
how. Yeah. I just thought it was funny how
Judgments.
different you guys play it to the other group. I think I said it a bit before, but the other group went to Valaki. They got in with the Baron. They got set up as effectively nobles. They had control of the town guard. They had like lots and lots of allies. The Were Ravens they were friends with, who were like help them scout out and stuff. So I thought it was just kind of funny how you just alienated everyone, and especially the Vistani. That was quite funny. Because that led to like a lot of characters not being okay with like allying with you. So
But we just thought of them as evil, and we were slowly ourselves being evil. We
yeah,
couldn't
I mean,
trust anyone.
the Vistani are not all. A lot of them do follow Strahd, but like, are they evil? I mean, definitely did they deserve to be like massacred? I don't
Probably
know.
not.
Is he for us right again? Then?
Yep. Indeed.
I mean,
A
to
wise man.
be frank, that was like racist genocide on an incredible level.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, I didn't foresee that coming at all. So I guess you could say that by surprise, and that's why I ended up saying that the Vistani are leaving Barovia basically, because how do you come back from something like that?
Yeah. Oh, shit. Yeah.
I'm sure we only killed like one camp. It's not-
There were a lot of people.
It's a
in that
big camp.
Yeah.
If that's their only camp.
Wow.
I remember watching
That
that
was the
video.
main one, yeah.
That's a big camp.
Yeah, it was a
Yeah.
big camp. There were a lot of people there. There were lots and lots of tents.
Yeah.
Like for essentially a gypsy people, that was a big camp.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
And also, it's just kind of like a place of sorrow for them as well, isn't it? Like they're not all in Barovia, but probably they wouldn't go back now. So
Are they allowed to leave?
yeah,
Yeah,
they're allowed
they
to
can
come
move
and go
freely.
by Strahd. Yeah,
Interesting.
Strahd's got a bit of history with them. I can put it up if you're interested.
I mean, I'd love like a lore dump, to be honest.
Read the
But
book.
like, yeah, no, that's what I mean. Like, because I said about borrowing the book at some point.
Yeah, you can borrow the book. Yeah, it's all in there. It's all his like history and stuff.
What's the biggest / favorite thing you changed from the book? What was your homebrew thing
So
you enjoyed the most?
again, this is like a kind of difficult question because I changed like a lot, but there wasn't like a big singular thing like that I just completely changed. It was like lots and lots of like little things along the way. Like, okay, like for example, the book doesn't give you any guidance on Strahd. So they just basically say, here is Strahd, do what you want. So every encounter you had with Strahd and all his plans and stuff were kind of done by me. And that was fun. It was really fun playing Strahd and like choosing when he was going to appear to you and like what he was going to do. That was awesome. I really enjoyed that. I had a lot more plans for what I was going to do with Strahd in terms of, he was going to much more actively toy with you. In that, as you got stronger and stronger, you would have run into much more like complex encounters, ambushes. He would have done like hit and run tactics because his horse can appear and reappear in the ethereal plane, and he could bring people with him. So, and I was going to get like stronger enemies, but I ended up kind of waiving a lot of that stuff just so I didn't bog you guys down with like combat encounters midway between the sections. Because again, we weren't playing weekly. I didn't want to just take up all your time with combat.
Yeah.
And then I changed a lot of things just to make stuff more satisfying. Like Mordekainen and the Argynvostholt. Because I can't remember what happens in the book, but it's like really anticlimactic again when you put the skull to rest. So I kind of just had like all the ghosts like appear in the graveyard, kind of say some final words to you.
That's nice.
I can't, to be honest, like most things you can think of, I changed like a little bit. Oh, one big thing, kind of, actually, now I think about it, the Amber Temple. So in the book, you're not meant to get into any of the rooms. So basically, that lich that was weakened, you're meant to help him out by first restoring his memory. Well, if you had helped him restore his memory, he would have given you the password to all the rooms, which is how you're meant to get into the rooms.
Right.
Otherwise, you're not meant to be able to get in. So that was a
So
big
how
thing
many
I changed.
how many when you say rooms, how many rooms exactly?
All the ones with the dots, surely the locks.
Yeah, every room that I had Arthur break down, was sealed.
Oh, what? So all the amber
Password.
rooms. Then?
Oh, so they were password
Yeah.
protected.
So they were all password protected, and the other group did actually heal him. So he did actually give them the password.
How would you have healed him? Out of curiosity.
Greater restoration.
Oh, right.
Wow.
Or I would have
yeah,
allowed
would've gained
something
your memories back.
again, like of
Mm.
cleverness, but greater restoration is the way the book suggests.
Fair. Would I have like a knock or something broken it?
No, you have to have the password.
Yeah, it's powerful dark magic. So
Yeah.
Look at the gift.
But I mean, yeah, I kind of allowed you to break into the rooms anyway because I think that's a big part of the temple.
Yeah,
is doing that.
considering we didn't engage with that level part, Ichiro was too shifty for that.
And also, there's like a lot of things in the book which are like too specific. Like, okay, I don't know if you remember this, Dan. There was like when you were in the Baron's house, you kind of detected something magical, like kind of spooky or evil. I
Wasn't
can't
it the
remember what I said.
dress?
Oh, the dress, yeah. And we
It
were trying
wasn't
to.
the dress. There was something else. You might not remember.
I do
But
remember you something saying.
It was
about
not
that.
the.
okay, basically, there's a mirror which
Mhm.
allows you to communicate with like this magical spirit, which would assassinate someone for you. But something like that is quite specific. Like you have to go up to the mirror and talk to it. So I was kind of trying to drop hints, for it. But I think at the time, yeah, you guys had to leave anyway. So that's fine.
What was the Xyril body parts?
So that was just Strahd trying to unnerve you. It didn't mean it.
Oh right. So he wasn't just trying to like make a clone.
It was quite funny hearing your reaction, so it worked quite well. But yeah, it was nothing more. If you had touched it, it would have reverted back to just somebody you wouldn't recognize.
Oh right.
Oh, I don't think he touched it.
No,
Yeah.
I don't think I
No,
touched
you didn't
it.
touch it. It was quite funny.
Zara was too freaked out.
Yeah.
But yeah, so yeah, I mean, Arthur, when you read the book, you'll probably notice all the things I stuff. The dinner was another big thing. I guess a single big thing, because
Wow.
in the book you go to dinner and it's an illusion of Strahd and he just vanishes.
Oh yeah.
So there is no dinner actually. It's just like a trap. So I just created like an actual dinner scene where he talks to you.
I think that's just a way better way of doing that. I think having an
Yeah,
actual, like,
it's just it was just
interaction.
kind of like rounding out the bits I didn't like or like enhance.
Like it's good to. I think everything you've said so far has been really good tweaks to just make it a little bit more our level of creepy vibes and intense
Yeah.
moments.
Yeah. Oh, and sorry, one other thing. I'm just looking at my notes that I wrote is so a lot of the quote unquote random encounters, they weren't like random in the sense that or anything. I just picked certain things I wanted to happen. So in some way, sometimes you would have had an encounter to give like the illusion of like, oh, something might happen, something might not, and then all the encounters you had, I basically picked or I had in mind. I knew what you were going to run into before.
But that was the rolls to get them still random though. So if we had
Or was
rolled
that just
poorly, or was that just to fuck with us?
It was just a fuck with you.
Yeah.
I could not figure
course
out
it
a
was.
pattern with those rolls. Like
No, we were
whatsoever.
like, if it's over 10 or if it's below 10.
Yeah, I was like, what is he just changing the?
Yeah.
That's yeah.
Uh,
No, that's great dungeon
see,
mastering
that-
right there.
That
Makes
right
them
there.
think they've got the control.
That right there is a classic example of why you're DMing this stuff like this. Like, it's just, oh my god. Oh, it's awful.
Yeah, that was quite funny.
Next question is, what was your favourite and least favourite moment in the campaign?
So yeah, this is kind of difficult. I didn't really have any least favorite moments. I thought the whole campaign was really good. I thought you guys getting the skull out of Castle Ravenloft was a really cool scene. I fully expected you to drop it and leave it. I didn't think you'd brave it out.
Asifa is just too stubborn, man.
That's why I gave the point for it, because I was like, wow, I was so sure you were behind, and it ended up costing you 2 people. So
Yeah.
it was quite literally paid the price in blood. So that was really cool. Getting Ramona was a good moment as well. I thought that was quite.
Ramona.
Where did that name come from? Who gave that name?
Matt
no
had it.
Just
yeah.
out of
Did
nowhere.
I?
Just out of
Yeah.
nowhere.
I don't even remember.
I can't remember. I don't even remember.
No, I didn't come up with it.
We were just coming up with. And I remember we were just bashing around random names for swords, or nicknames for swords.
Ramona.
And then someone came up with Rona and it was like, yep.
Variel's introduction I thought was really funny as well.
The
You
air.
guys just ditched him outside of Christ. And the whole Dumon demon thing. I
Oh,
thought
that's
that was
great.
That was great.
That was so good.
Um,
I
I
love
can't believe
that.
you got ambushed outside and to fight that by yourself.
I mean, this is what I mean. Like, I controlled all the encounters, so that was a deliberate encounter.
Yeah, no.
My warning to you guys: don't leave people outside on their
Cass
own.
literally told me afterwards was like that encounter was meant for all of you. And I was literally like, you fucking bastard.
Wow.
It was my way of like warning you, like, don't do this again. Otherwise, I will kill the next person that's outside on their own.
Was it worth going to see Baba Yaga?
So she wouldn't have wanted
Isn't
to help
it
you.
Baba Saga.
Yes, sorry, you're right. It is
Oh, is it?
Barbarous.
I must have remembered.
So let
He
me-
said, I changed it because he said Yaga earlier.
yeah, that was my bad. So let me reveal to you the ruins of Berez.
Oh,
You can have a
Yeah, you
look.
did talk about it. How it was. this
Where was
way.
Perez? Was that just?
It's kind of like south of Valaki. I can show you on the world map in a sec as well.
I think we walked past it.
No, you wouldn't have gone near there. You have to
No.
kind of like, go
Yeah.
there.
I think someone told us about it.
Someone told you about it, I think. Yeah. So
Yeah.
I literally only know one thing about this NPC, and that's it. But
So basically, she's extremely powerful witch. Had you gone near there, this is what the other party had as well.
Oh damn.
You would have seen a massive skull flying around, and that's basically like her rocket ship. She just flies around in that.
What?
So,
she
yeah,
flies
it's
around in a
pretty
skull.
cool.
That's
Yeah,
crazy.
it's a big old
Okay.
skull.
So
Um,
awesome.
let me reveal everything on the map.
whoa,
Oh damn.
Oh shit.
So this is Berez. So had you gone here, she's extremely powerful. Yeah, you definitely would have ended up in a fight.
Is that
And
unavoidable? Or...
Again, I'm always like leaving things open. So if had you spoken to her, who knows what could have happened? But she
True.
does support Strahd, and she openly supports Strahd. She kind of
Yeah.
believes him to be like her son. She's like a bit messed up,
definitely not a
Um,
good idea for coming here.
so
then.
she would not have been happy with
Mm.
you guys like doing anything against him.
Yeah, Claw would have gone straight for the blade situation. if
Yeah.
she fully supported Strahd.
She's also got a walking hut, which can like sprout legs and walk around, and
Ooh.
it's sentient. So you would have had to fight the hut as well.
Oh, that's so
Ah.
cool.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
the only
so-
thing I
That's
know about it
awesome.
is that
Good-
she's got
good fun.
a was it Baba Saga's creeping hut or something?
Yes. How do you know about that?
Because
Oh, did I reveal it somewhere?
no, I've for trackers.
Oh,
The
okay.
DM manual.
Yeah,
Oh,
the
DM reference.
as well. Like I know a lot
So
of
I think
creatures.
I've got a handout for it. Here you go. This is kind of what it looks like when it's on the move.
Oh.
Wow.
Oh,
That's
cool.
interesting. Yeah.
That's
This is-
awesome.
Barbara the Saga herself.
Ooh.
Oh, no
Oh,
wonder
wow.
she thinks she's Strahd's mother. She's ugly as
Yeah.
Oh,
There's
just-
she's actually got like a baby Famisal thing, which is quite creepy. So,
Ugh.
but yeah, no, she's very powerful. The other group almost got wiped by her.
I can see
So-
that.
She alone is a CR 11, and then you have to contend with
Uh,
also the skull, which can move, and the hut.
You have to fight the skull.
Well, it's got
Which
like an
is-
AC and stuff. She fight, and it also gives her free cover when she fight it. So
Oh, yeah, of course it
Jesus.
does. Yeah. Genius.
So
Basically a
would
tank.
would it have been worth going there? Is part of the question in your mind?
I
Or
would-
would we have learned anything more by going there apart from a probable level up? I assume.
yeah, I would have given you the level up for it. And I'm just seeing if there's any. There is some decent treasure in there. Mass cure wounds, revivify, pipes of haunting, a stone of good luck, over 1,000 gold. I guess gold doesn't really help you in this campaign, though.
I had
but-
like 1100 gold by the end of
Yeah.
when Zyra died.
So the spell
That
scrolls
was
would have been
most
useful,
mine.
and it would have given you a level up. I would have given a level up for it, but other than that, probably not worth it. I think you probably made a good decision, even if it was accidental not going here.
Yeah.
Fair
Fair enough.
If we fought Strahd, would we also have had to have fought Jafar, Variel, and Asifa? I think you can comfortably skip Variel.
So
That's that.
Variel, I don't know if you guys know this, was never recovered by Strahd. His body vanished
Oh,
after he
okay.
was killed. So you wouldn't have had to fight Variel. And it's something Strahd was quite curious to you about. But we won't say any more on that because it might come up later. Jafar and Asifa were going to be positioned within the castle, so they wouldn't have like run at you as soon as you walked in, but there was a good chance whilst you were fighting throughout the castle, you would have come across them.
Right.
Fair.
Because I was thinking like because obviously Asifa popped up at one point.
Yes, he brought Asifa deliberately within that fight because if you guys had fought him there, seriously, you could have actually done quite a lot of damage to him, I think. You wouldn't have been able to kill him, but he doesn't want to break that illusion, that he's super
Which is a
powerful.
massive show of power that one of our ex people just
Yeah.
was there.
Exactly, yeah. That was part of the reason I made it. So, like I said, the book doesn't give any guidance on Strahd meetings or encounters, so
Yeah.
that was just something I just put in. And yeah, he was aware of the fact that if you all fought him seriously, it could have been enough to force him to retreat, which is not what he wants.
Mm.
He doesn't want to seem weak.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, he's much more powerful in the card.
Yeah, well, yeah,
Yeah.
of course.
So
he's home ground.
if Eirril had stabbed him with Ramona,
Would have hurt. Oh, why did he ask Iroh to stab
Yeah.
him?
Yeah.
So,
That's a bit random.
because the reason why we didn't attack is we thought it was a trick.
Yeah, like
So this is a
I thought
mind
he was gonna
game
like
that I
absorb
wanted to play with you,
and
like-
take the sword or something.
no, he wasn't going to do that. This was like a little mind game I wanted to play with you. So he was going to. So basically, remember I told you guys about the Heart of Sorrow,
Mm-hmm.
which
Mm.
eats up damage. So he was going to stand there and let Iroh hit him at full strength with the sword because you can't do enough damage to break the Heart of Sorrow in one turn.
Mm-hmm.
And you would have seen that it did nothing to him. And he was just going to
Right.
basically kind of say to you that, like, oh, such a shame, it's not the true sword or something like that. Make you guys like
Oh,
doubt
wow.
yourself. And it
Yeah.
would have worked if you had swung because I know you guys would have. Wait, why isn't this working? So you would have started doubting the
Mm.
sword. But
Oh, it's a good thing Claw's an idiot then.
yeah, that's why when Claw was like getting in there, I was like, no, stay out of it. Let him swing because I was about to swing. I could tell he was about to swing with the sword. But
Yeah.
Oh, any free hit on Strahd, he would have taken it.
I mean, what I would have done, or what I was about to do, is Strahd would have basically used his OP movement, taken the sword off you, stabbed himself, and then given it back to you and said, "This is worthless."
Wow.
I'm really glad Claw got involved then.
Yeah.
Mm.
Oh,
Also,
all my plans. Which
I made him bleed.
Yeah.
Yes, you did, which was also quite interesting. Yeah, gave you guys a little bit of hope. that
I'm
he's not
curious
working.
into his mindset of like, oh, this guy actually could make me bleed.
I mean,
Yeah, but you also died at the same time, so
yeah,
I
mean,
know, but I wasn't going
You
full
really do.
hell. Genuinely, I wasn't because I forgot the mechanic of like half damage for all the slashing and piercing.
a lot of it was necrotic anyway, and if you had shown resistance, he would have just started blasting you with spells.
Makes sense.
Plus, it depends if he's dealing magical damage or not with that.
Yeah.
This is my question as well. How much combat was twistedly homebrewed by you to kill us? And I was just trying to bring up the ambush thing that you pulled on me.
So the mist was completely homebrew. The Asifa and the red bodyguards with like the red plate armor, they were all homebrewed as well.
Oh, they're cool.
And like I said before, like some of the encounters I reused the monsters, but I just controlled the encounters. Like I picked how many things I wanted, and I chose like certain abilities I wanted to use, stuff like that. So you could kind of say it was like crafted combat, I guess.
Yeah.
I did use a lot from the book, but yeah, I just
Ease.
tweaked. Again, it was like
Adjusted.
tweaking, adding things. Yeah. Strahd got a bit of a power boost. I kind of mentioned this before. That
Yes.
the Strahd you fought is a bit stronger than the Strahd in the book, because Strahd in the book has a lot of spells which aren't useful in combat.
Right.
So okay, so this was my fault with Strahd. Strahd is a bit like Fenelia actually in the sense that because he's been alive for centuries and centuries, he knows pretty much all the magic up to the spell slot that he can cast.
Right.
So the way I had Strahd is he has kind of two sets of spells. He has like a combat spell set, and he has like a utility going around.
fuck with you,
So-
spell set.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Also, the armor. It mentions the book briefly in the armor, but I gave Strahd the ability to summon it onto himself as an action, which boosts his AC quite a lot.
Wow.
And yeah, like the hit and run tactics, like I never really ended up using, but maybe in the if we were doing it weekly, I would have. Is like appearing, reappearing with the horse, summoning hordes of monsters, then just disappearing. Like there was nothing you guys could have done if I had just done that hit and run stuff. So yeah, Strahd was a bit stronger, not like massively so, but yeah, it was a bit stronger. The Golem, I also boosted the HP of slightly.
Felt like it.
Yeah.
That thing took hits.
I mean, the one upstairs, my headcanon was a bit more damage because it actually smashed out of the room it was meant to be kept in. So that one had a bit lower HP. It had like 80 lower HP, so you would have killed it quicker.
Oh, yeah.
Uh, But yeah, the big golem, its HP was slightly stronger. Also, I wanted to remind you that quite strong. There is still strong stuff in this campaign, and it works
Mm.
perfectly.
Good. For each one of our characters, do you have a favorite moment for the stuff we did, like individually? And
would say-
I understand that me and Matt technically have 2 characters, but just sort of
Yeah.
general question, like if there was a moment, like a Seafer carrying the skull.
That was cool, yeah.
My favourite
the,
receiver is when he
or
opened
like-
the, when he
or
opened
like
the
the
door.
no.
And he opened the nope, not this room, and they just closed the door.
Oh,
No,
that was such a funny moment.
Oh,
He-
so
when
good.
Atifa opened the door and then just shut it.
Yeah.
The Revenant.
That was really
it,
funny.
Was it the Revenant say? It's like,
Like,
do
who
you-
dares enter or something like that.
was that-
wrong room.
And it was funny because I was literally gearing up for what would have been a big, big fight, and then you shut the door. I was like, okay, fine. I would say, yeah, particular like on an individual level. Like I said, there were lots of funny campaign. Some I've forgotten. Like I just remembered like when Xyril and Eirril left Jafar to die. I thought that was quite funny as well. They just legged him.
He was getting jumped on by
Yeah,
vampires.
there's no way we were going to stop him.
Oh,
yeah.
So that was really funny.
And when
Uh,
Xyril blasted that kid.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that was so fun. No, it wasn't just Cyril. What made it funny as well was that both prepared reactions. I can't remember to
Oh
what,
yeah.
and they both ended up blasting the
Yeah,
kid
we-
simultaneously.
yeah, we both did it, yeah, we
we
both did
did. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And it was so unnecessary. You could have just pushed them off or something.
Literally brutal.
Oh.
Let's just say you deserve your ending.
Oh yeah, of course. I don't,
Yeah.
you know, I fully expected Xyril to be brutally killed, not by a party member, granted, but I fully expected him to be just absolutely destroyed because
Yeah,
of everything that
so-
he's done.
So yeah, there were a lot of funny moments. Yeah, I can't really.
Okay. What did each tarot card reading mean,
Okay,
and how do they actually work?
so basically, there's like a system in Curse of Strahd where I can't remember exactly how it works. I do some stuff, like I do some rolls or I draw some cards. I can't remember what I did, and it's completely randomized. Like there's dozens and dozens of different combinations. Like it could have been anywhere. So I did all the draws before we started playing. You figured out 2 of them. One was told you the location of the sun sword. Another one told you the diary or the tome
Mhm.
of Strahd, which he took off you. And the other one, the symbol of Ravenloft we talked about, that was your Dizzying Heights one. The 4th one, Dan, do you have it? I don't
I
have the-
just posted it in
Oh, okay, cool.
to the Q&A.
So,
Cool. So
Okay.
help in fight against darkness, St. Markovia's Abbey near the Mystica Wood. So Esmeralda was your ally. So each campaign you
Mhm.
get an ally, which is kind of picked for you. So she would have gone with you to the final fight if you hadn't alienated her. So she left. So that was your ally gone. So you kind of missed out on that.
God damn it, Xyril.
Knowledge of the ancient will help you in your journey. Lies by the crossroads. That's the Tome of Strahd. House by Stone Dragon. That's obviously Argon Vostol.
Mm,
Dizzying Heights is the place you didn't go to.
right.
So that's where the symbol was. Lurks in a hall of bones in the dark pits of his castle. So this basically tells you where to find Strahd. So
Oh.
Strahd
So,
can be.
so the Hall of Bones wasn't Argynvost's
So we just, that's
head.
hilarious.
That's what we thought it was.
No, it
Yeah.
wasn't.
So we actually
basically-
we
Oh.
misunderstood 2 of them
Yes.
to get the Sunblade.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's hilarious. That's
So-
fantastic. That is.
I was actually curious that 2 tarot card readings would go to the same result, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So the fifth tarot card tells you a guaranteed location you can find, which would help in the final fight. So your guaranteed
Right.
location is he would always have been in the Hall of Bones for you. So if you went there, you could always find him there.
Right. But,
Otherwise, you could be wandering around the castle, right?
so I guess you
I-
had to change that because we went there.
So I kind of took that out because you had just had dinner with him. So it kind of
Right.
makes sense, he wouldn't just.
And he
go
promised
back
not to
there.
stop us.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
I think
Had you
also
gone back to the
conditions-
castle, he would have been in the Hall of Bones.
Yeah, conditions
like
of
the
final
last
fight
place we would have
versus
gone.
what we were.
Yes,
That would have been the
exactly,
last place we would have gone because we've been there
Yeah.
already.
Yeah, would have been tough. Then.
Yeah, well, we,
I mean-
we might find the Raven Holy.
Well, actually, we would have gone around the back entrance and gone up that way, so we would have gotten close to the Hall of Bones.
Mm.
Yes, that's also true.
So it's plausible.
So
Yeah.
you roll a bunch of stuff. Are they in like 2 parts, or are they in?
So,
You're asking DM questions, man.
It's just a curious thing because Haiss said it was like in 2, like it gives you a location. Oh, we can discuss it later then.
So
It's
I mean,
fine.
basically, you can. Oh, I did use cards actually, playing cards. So there's like an actual tarot deck of cards in this. Like there's different suits and blah blah blah. So you draw the cards at the start, and you draw them 5 times, and like the book's got like a lookup for like number and suit, and this means this means that. So
That's cool.
yeah,
Oh,
it's
that's
quite
cool.
cool. The idea is that if you replayed this campaign, all your tarot readings would be different. So therefore, you have to go to different places.
bit like haunted,
So-
haunted house was. Yeah,
House,
like haunted.
yeah. Betrayal
House on the
on-
hill.
Yeah,
Betrayal
yeah,
on the hill,
exactly.
that
So,
one.
okay, for example, Berez, it's got a location where it says if your tarot card points here, you find the artifact here.
Oh, I see.
And obviously, there's different allies you could seek out. So, yeah, so Esmer, yeah. So,
Rictavio, that kind of
so
thing.
yeah, the idea is to add replayability.
That's cool.
Mhm.
That is cool though.
That is
I kinda
good.
like that. Well, I don't know whose question this was, but I kind of feel like answering it. What was Variel's deal?
So I'll let Arthur answer this one. Yeah.
Can I ask who the question was, and in what are you referring to exactly?
I asked it, and it's just like, what was his deal? Like,
Okay, so
like what, how, like, we all said it. We all said it was a demon, and you said, like, you weren't a demon. You were of the order of whatever.
Do on.
But like, what did that actually mean?
okay, so Variel, and I'm not going to go into too much, because I don't want to. There's me and Hass have things. But I'm not going to go into too much. But
Is
basically,
there War of Ages hints?
it may be War of Ages related, but essentially,
Of course.
he's a fallen angel
Uh-huh.
who basically went against the wishes of the gods and was cursed to walk the ethereal plane to the end of his days. But there is a group, the Order of Dumont, who transcend between the ethereal plane and the material plane, and they found him, and because of his angelic blood, he had much more powerful blood magic, which is what they used. So they sort of trained him and built him up and that kind of thing, to the point where he was able to at least somewhat control his curse, in like sometimes, but not fully. So essentially, the initial idea of this was, me and Hass were discussing ways I could have a completely perfect drop in and drop out character, and the idea is that the minute he's rested in the material plane for too long, he'll pop back to the ethereal because of his curse.
Yeah.
So I would have always been with you guys, but I wouldn't have been in the actual game, if you know what I mean.
Which never really ended up happening in the end.
Which never happened, but it was there.
Yeah.
Yeah. But essentially, his entire goal was he was chasing after a hunt, I think, and ended up in Barovia because he was in the ethereal plane, and found that he couldn't carry on walking, and that he was stuck. So from there, he was looking around for clues to understand what was happening here, and because of the curse being to do with souls, he thought it might find a clue about his curse and how he can resolve it. Because the other caveat is that when he was banished to the ethereal plane, he lost all memory of who he was.
It'd be interesting to see how Variel and Asifa would have handled the dark gifts.
I know how
I think.
Variel wouldn't have touched them, I don't think. I think Variel would have sensed the darkness of the place and decided it was not right.
Even
to
if one
accept.
of them could sort him out.
I think even then, because of how I've sort of seen Variel is quite happy to use like blood magic because he knows because it's to do with the spirits and that kind of thing. Accepting a gift from a dark entity which isn't his own power isn't his kind of thing.
Do you know what they call fallen angels?
What do they call fallen angels? Do they call them demons by any chance?
Yes.
It's almost like I planned it out.
It's almost as if Sifa was right again.
But yeah, he was a fallen Asimar, and I said to Haiss, like,
Oh.
if he could ever find a cure to his curse, or the gods decided that he was worthy again, I would picture that he would become a protector, and his
Yeah.
angel wings would kind of sprout back.
So the three things that could have helped you with this: the abbot could have helped you a bit, Strahd could have helped you a bit, and accepting a particular gift in the Amber Temple would have helped you a bit.
See, and I don't get that, because if it's a dark gift, how could you become like a
Okay.
radiant?
It wouldn't have made you radiant. It would have been a temptation offer, and it would have corrupted you. So
Fantastic.
essentially, okay, this was my fault, and I'm sorry to say there was no real 100% good option where you just get your memories back. Everything would have come with strings attached. So it would have been up to Variel what price are you willing to pay to get your memories back? Because Strahd offered to help you, and he would have, but it would have come with strings attached, obviously.
Yeah, of course,
If
yeah.
you had, so what was going to happen if you went to the Amber Temple is rather than you getting a specific gift, the Dark Powers would have offered to make a pact with you, but it definitely would have corrupted you had you done that. So you'd become basically, you'd fall further into kind of like darkness, effectively, if you chose to accept that.
Even
Yeah.
bigger demon.
Yeah,
I don't
essentially,
think he would have gone for that.
Yeah.
Like knowing his character. How would the abbot have helped? Because he's an
The
angel as
abbot-
well.
The abbot knows a little bit of what happened.
Oh.
Could have got it out of him, but he didn't know the whole story.
But unfortunately,
Oh,
you were
it's a good
persuaded
thing
to
I
him
was
that you were a
kicked out of
demon.
Kresk.
Someone said that you were a demon to him, which I could. You know what? Now that he's a fallen angel, makes more sense why he took it so badly.
Yeah.
I'll
Okay.
just show you guys a random side note as well. This is the crystal heart as it appears in the castle.
Ooh.
Whoa.
Oh wow, that's
Shiny.
cool.
It's pretty cool. Yeah, there's a lot of cool art. This is like in the dungeons. Looking around, you can see stuff.
Oh my word!
So
I'm not sure what gifts the Sifa would have taken in the Amber Temple personally.
strength one maybe.
That strength boost, yeah.
Even that, because like, I think he viewed himself as fairly strong. Like, he had quite. Yeah, at that time, if he hadn't have died, he would have I would have emboldened him further to believe he was stronger than he was.
It's true.
Mm.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think definitely the whole ending of the campaign would be different if both
Mm.
had been alive, because we had two very different characters join.
Yeah, we both decided to go evil.
Yeah, Ichiro
it's
was
fun,
literally evil from the start.
Yeah, so was
I
Claw.
was so ready for Claw to kill
How was
Eirril. I
Claw
kept
evil?
thinking you would just kill Eirril at some point.
Very, very quickly,
man, that would've
just
been tough.
saying this, Claw was evil from the start. He's a tyrannical leader. He bosses his people about. Nobody wants to go back to Barovia. It's literally just him.
Wow.
And he literally was planning on killing Eirril and Xyril in an execution to
Fuck.
win the Vistani's favor. After he got the throne,
Man, what we
he
did,
is
we did,
evil.
what did we
Varian
get
and
to do
Sifa
with
were talking about that as well, though.
They were.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So, like, we were already dead anyway.
I know, tell me about it. Xyril was
Iroh,
screwed.
by teleporting away, Iroh got his best solution.
Pretty much.
Yeah. This is my best.
To be fair, I don't think Variel's plan for you was to kill you. It was more just to
No.
keep a watchful eye for you to do
Yeah.
more bad shit.
Deary me.
But I think he probably would have been like, you should probably go to like prison or something. Like, you're not doing great.
Yeah, Xyril was a full-on like death case.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
He full-on deserved death.
Yeah.
I would have argued that Xyril's madness could be considered
Hmm.
some kind of excuse at the very least.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I had that for pretty much most of the campaign,
Yeah.
That's true.
if not all of it. So,
I think that's what
I don't know.
Variel would have thought.
I mean, because the thing is,
Thought,
he wasn't a good person anyway. So when you
Hmm.
take that to
If it-
with the madness, kind of is what.
Would we have been able to find out you were an incubus before or after we'd if you hadn't you obviously weren't going to tell us
No.
that you were an incubus.
He doesn't
Would
know.
we have been able to?
He doesn't.
But was that something that we would have been able to discover ourselves?
If you'd walked in on him doing the deed,
because none of it because we never really met up with people again
no, when there was a
at
reason
any
for that.
point.
So that's
Yeah.
why you know when we stayed with that at that woman's house in Krez and in Valaki, he was like dead set on leaving in the morning.
Yeah.
She was gone. She was gone.
Yeah.
That was funny. Yeah.
So we had to leave before it would have been made sense for her to come down.
Again, it's kind of like certain people would have been able to see you for what you truly were if they had
Yeah.
chosen to
And I think,
look.
yeah, because the thing is, and this is the reason I never mentioned it, is because Xyril doesn't know.
Mm.
So
Yeah.
he just knows that when he does this thing, they disappear and he gets younger. That's all he knows.
I mean, the way I was going to do it is the aging was really going to rapidly and concerningly happening until he was basically becoming an old man, kind of like a
well, it would have
reaction
capped.
to all the years.
It would have capped to 50 because that's how old he is.
The way I was picturing it, although I would have probably checked with you, is that because he's been kind of keeping himself young for so long,
Mm.
it kind of like it's like an elastic band. It just like snaps back and it goes like really far the
Little
other
bit
way.
further,
Oh, I
yeah.
see. Okay, yeah.
But I didn't want to do it all at once.
Yeah.
But my friend has like an age rule, which basically starts modifying your stats.
Right.
So I was going to start using that.
That's cool.
Yeah, because I didn't really plan for that kind
Yeah,
of.
because
I
you
didn't-
basically
we
get
got
like, I
to-
think you lose strength to
we-
gain something else. I can't
Yeah,
remember.
because we kind of got to the point where I didn't quite realize when I made the character that there was that few NPCs. Like,
Mhm.
it got to a point where we were like kicked out of everywhere, and
You just had nowhere to go. I
there
guess,
was
really,
nowhere.
yeah. I
there
mean,
was nowhere.
You
without-
alienated so many people.
Because the thing is, despite Xyril's demeanor, he wouldn't have resorted to like evil means for doing
Yeah.
it, because he can charm person. He could use magic, but he
There were
wouldn't
actually-
have stooped that low.
There were groups of people like outside of the major towns. There were some evil druids. There were some werewolves.
Yeah.
But you would have had to venture into the
But
forest.
he
It would have been very
he
big.
wasn't going to do that. The only other person there was the kid in the windmill, and he's not going to do that either.
Oh, God.
Yeah, well,
Or
yeah,
us, or us players.
Or us players.
Yeah,
That's true.
but he doesn't.
That would have been funny.
Luckily,
Cast him in.
none of you really rolled female characters, so
I think
you
we
could
would
have
have
done
had a
it.
better chance noticing if, for example, me and Matt,
hmm
we weren't neither of our characters were around long enough to properly investigate or notice that.
no, because
I
you
just
weren't.
didn't investigate it.
I would think he's just like, hey,
Were
know
you
what?
there? None of you were there. Valentine.
I don't think either of us saw like women
No.
not come out
No.
with you
No.
at
No,
all.
I was the only one who
No.
could have put it together. I don't think he cared. He was just
Yeah.
like, whatever.
No.
You met you guys in Kresk.
And that was after. Yeah, that was after that. So
Yeah.
yeah, you were never around when it happened.
So
you
there's no
wouldn't have
way
seen it.
for us to have
No.
found out. So I think you would have at least been able to get away a little bit
Mm.
with some of the death by Sifa maybe, but I don't know. You're flirting along with a lot of lines there.
Yeah. for sure.
Um,
Would
what
you have done it
happened-
with Dom's character?
Cade or no, not
Death
Cade.
Bars.
Oh,
the
Aladdin.
Doctor.
Yes, potentially.
Would you have done it?
Yeah.
That was funny. Just kill Dom.
I did. I think I raised that with Haiss at one point. Like, what actually? Because obviously Aladdin was a thing,
Yeah.
and and the way that relationship was gearing up. I think we talked about like what actually happens. I probably would have had said to Dom like, "Don't agree." Like, whatever you
Do it.
just don't do it. Just find an excuse. Or we would have done something. We could have because
He
he's
would have
only-
died if you had slept with that girl. She would have died.
Yeah, I mean, because it's hard to like say, oh, because he's only half incubus, it wouldn't have done much. Like, it would have just
No.
seriously aged her. But because he's doing it
Okay.
to others, it's hard to say why Aladdin wouldn't be.
I mean, at
infected.
at the level you guys ended up at like level 10, I would have had you roll. But at like level 2 or level you were, like
Yeah.
she would have died.
Yeah.
Whatever happened to Irina? Did she ever wear that wedding dress we found in the Baron's house and marry / be Strahd's slave?
Well, yeah, you kind of answered that one.
You
It's
kind
just
of
a
you kind
tiny-
of answered what could have happened, but did you answer what actually happened?
No, so okay, so Strahd doesn't want her to marry him against her will. So like he took her, but he's not going to brainwash her or charm her doing it because he wants her to like genuinely love him. So she would have made several attempts over the years to kill herself, which he would have stopped her from doing.
Yeah, well, yeah.
And eventually, she managed to break through enough to a brainwashed Ismark, sort of a mutilated version of him, to kill her himself. After which the cycle would continue again, where she is reborn and Strahd goes after her and she dies, and then etc. etc.
Wow.
Yeah, because the soul's trapped. So if
And what happened to the girl that Asifa made the wedding dress for with the abbot?
So the abbot is quite unhinged. He would have reached out to Strahd requesting an audience, and Strahd would have.
No. Well, makes sense. I mean, I don't really see how.
He genuinely thought that Strahd would fall for her and be happy and break the
And
curse.
Trav was like, nah, bro.
Strahd was basically like, he wouldn't even bother giving him like an audience. He'd be like, no.
Come on, man. I need a 10 out of 10 here.
Well, he's
Strahd,
after
fun
he's
fact.
after that soul, isn't he? So anything that's not got that soul in it, he's just not interested.
Yeah.
Strahd, fun fact, actually has several brides who you could have met throughout the castle, but they're just like.
Oh
pagans,
man, he's
basically.
like he's like Dracula.
concubines.
It's literally like in Van Helsing. He's got like a bunch
Yeah,
of-
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
So you
That's
could have met them.
not surprising.
Actually, yeah, you could have met them. There's a lot of interesting NPCs throughout.
Hmm.
Cool. I think another thing is mentioned of what important thing did we miss? Locations, characters, but you kind of covered that.
Well, there's a couple of other things to tell you. So I've shown you Brez.
Hmm
If I go to the world map, I'll.
Oh yeah, 'cause yeah. There's a couple of things.
All my pages are like out of order. Okay, so
Can you unhide all the text then?
there's not much to be honest. It's just like
Oh,
map
okay.
markers and stuff. But
Oh.
most of your notes are like the things. If you look a bit to the top right of like where you guys are, that's Brez, where the U is.
Oh right.
Oh, okay.
The winery is obviously. I'll tell you what happened to the winery. And if you look a
Forgot
bit to
about
the
the
left and like up a bit, can you see the Y?
Yeah.
That's a place called Yester Hill.
Why can't I see any
Um,
of this?
No.
I don't know.
Dunno.
You do it.
Yeah,
I'm refreshing the screen.
I'm about to probably move
I
you
can
guys
see it.
again anyway. So basically, what happened at the winery is after you guys left. So the winery is this whole thing where the gems that they use to grow the wine are like all these magic gems, and they also protect the winery. And Barber Lysaga took the gems, just to like torment people, I think, and also use the magical power. So what happened at the winery is a huge tree monster, which is it's like a big ent type thing. Basically, when they smashed up the whole winery after you guys rubbed it. And Yester Hill is like this evil druid place where these druids are conducting like a ritual, like for Strahd. Like they think they're gonna like summon like all these evil creatures to like help them out. And this is where you can find like some cursed weapons and stuff. This is a really difficult area, but you do get some cursed
I
weapons.
mean, are
from
these the
here.
same druids that were at the winery then?
Yes, yeah. It's like the same like faction.
So
I
we
guess
would
you could
never have
say.
been able to wipe them out at the winery. That's basically a never.
So the winery was interesting. It was basically like, let me show you something. Did I ever tell you how many creatures were at the winery?
You showed a fair amount because I remember Spiny went to do recon at one point.
Yes, he did. Yeah. So for the benefit of Matt and Arthur, and
Oh my god.
You see that?
Oh.
The hell.
Yeah, it was a lot.
there's a few more as well.
Yeah.
So
What are they? Are they druids?
here's the tree monster. These are like
God,
all
they're
needle blights or something.
Yeah, twig blights.
Needle
kinda-
blights.
Yeah.
Yeah. Here's some more
It's like-
stuff.
Shit.
Yeah.
My God.
This isn't even everything, by the way.
Three of us.
Like you can't fit everything on here, but this fight is basically a multi-wave siege, where waves of enemies come at like predetermined times.
There's no way three of
okay.
us would have been able to
The
do
tree, the
this.
tree monster isn't here at this stage. The tree monster comes later to wipe out the winery. This one.
Wow.
So, this is why people thought that you destroyed the winery.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
this dude came
Oh.
and like wiped it out.
Jeez.
So those crystals were also protecting the winery.
Yes, they were. Yeah.
I see.
Nice. Okay.
Wow.
So yeah, that's what happened to the winery. So it was completely wiped out.
What were they
No
doing,
more
by the
wine,
way?
pretty
Like
much.
they were doing weird shit with that wine. What were they?
So they were
actually
basically
doing?
poisoning all the wine. They just wanted to get rid
Right.
of Barovia, just because wine in Barovia is kind of like the only escape that these like people have.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And
the
now
only
that they've lost
positive.
it, it's just like there's like nothing worth living for anymore.
We did steal a couple barrels.
Oh yeah, you true.
We were
but-
lucky.
Yeah.
You traded
went
them
as
for the entrance into Kresk.
Yes, you did. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So can you guys see this map?
We're on the
Mm.
hill, yeah.
Yep. So this is a druidic ritual that they're doing. There's a lot of berserkers around here who are fairly strong enemies. Oops, I did something by accident. We zoom out, reveal every. There's not like loads and loads of enemies here, but Strahd himself appears for the.
Oh,
So
right.
he would have popped up here. Bunch of
Oh my
stuff.
god.
There's something like this big tree thing. There's a cursed spear here, which like hungers for blood. And yeah, throughout the ritual, Strahd himself would arrive on his horse to like supervise the ritual.
Blimey.
This is also another area that you missed. Yeah.
It sounds like we missed
the-
all the massive dangerous ones.
Mm.
Yeah, they're pretty dangerous. The remaining places. But there was a magic item here, so.
Thing is, though, like, well, yeah, but then like we would have had no reason.
No, I mean the fact that you left the winery in the way that you did means you had no to go here.
Yeah.
In terms of characters, the Were Ravens are a really useful ally because they're immune to physical damage. They're like an order that opposes Strahd, but they hate
Yeah.
you. They hate your guts. If you ever step foot in Valaki again, they would have strung you up.
We tortured it.
I mean, they kind of let you off for that, but the fact that you killed that kid
Oh yeah, yeah. That was
and
it.
his granddad, so the guy who runs the bar or whatever it is, the tavern in
Oh, yeah.
Valaki, he
That was
did
him.
find out after you left that you killed that kid. He was out for your blood.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
if you'd ever gone back to Valaki, it would have been death.
Yeah. Well, we didn't want to go back just because of the whole raid thing.
Yeah, yeah. With
Yeah.
them vampires everywhere.
Yeah. I mean, it was under Strahd's control anyway, so he kind of had to lay low.
Yeah. Yeah.
Obviously, Esmeralda, you alienated. Octavio, you didn't go after, I guess.
Yeah. Well, we had no leads for that one.
Yeah. He did tell you to go look for him, but yeah.
But yeah, but where? It's a-
When we finally did go look for him, he wasn't there.
Yeah, it was a big map.
I waited too long.
You got bored.
Yeah, that's it really. I think. Yeah.
Who was the dude, by the way? Who was the head? Anyone?
Hey,
you
he's just
saw?
like he's just a
dude.
Vistani dude. He's
Okay,
not. He's not
not
that important.
important.
Yeah. Rictovstein was just interrogating him.
How do you get the tiger? Where was the tiger?
It's just his companion, I guess. Yeah, I don't know. He's got a trained type, which he's trained to kill Vistani by the.
Of course.
Oh, legend.
Yeah, he doesn't like Vistani either, so he would have been completely cool as well.
God damn it.
Hmm.
Interesting that he would have been cool with it, but Esmeralda wasn't.
Yeah, Rictario is a bit more. He's like a lot more jaded. I mean, bear in mind, I'll say that 90% of the things I've told you guys in this Q&A is like my headcanon. So if you read the book and find out something else, don't be too surprised.
No,
'cause
that's
I've just
cool.
done a lot of it where like I read the biography and I just had an idea.
We're
of the
just not the
character.
kind of people that we have allies. It's just not.
No,
You know,
it did not go well.
Your
the
characters
characters.
were for sure.
Yeah, our characters are
well,
not.
yeah.
Are just not that kind of.
Yeah,
You know.
but yeah, my impression of Esmeralda is that she's a bit more moral, whereas Rictavio is a bit more jaded.
Mm.
Yeah.
Been through like a lot more, so
I don't know. If you had, I don't know, someone a bit more morally sane at the beginning,
Yeah.
maybe you could have turned out slightly differently. We didn't alienate everybody.
I blame.
But even going incubus
Yeah.
and killing the people the way that you killed them made it very difficult to.
But then that you would be in secret a lot of the time. Like you.
well, I
wouldn't-
mean, you got
Yeah, but you would
Vistani
find out.
angry with you at the first camp because they found out she was missing.
Yes. Yeah.
Could have kept happening.
They did.
And
Yeah.
I imagine if you said
We
like
had to run, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
no, we ran
if
for
you
something
settled
different.
down
We
in
were-
one place,
Yeah.
like the other group, like I said, they settled down in Valaki. They had like a house and everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and they had control of the town guard.
Right.
But then
Uh,
it just gets wiped out anyway, so.
No, because they stopped it from being wiped out, which will lead us on to that question when we get there.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Ah.
The next question is, what would have happened if we rolled badly on the
You'd have died.
bridge traversal?
You'd have
Died.
Yeah.
So I guess-
Fallen to our death, assumedly?
And was that just you rolling to fuck with us, or would that
No,
an
this
actual roll?
was an actual thing in the book where they say roll, and if they fail, then they fall through
Wow.
and die.
So
Damn.
basically, Casimir's dead.
Mm.
No, that's the Castle Ravenloft.
No, no,
the
the
Castle
Castle
Ravenloft.
Ravenloft Bridge.
Right. Oh, it's old Ravenloft
Not,
Bridge.
not the
I
rock.
talking about the other one. Yeah.
Mm.
What happened to the Baron's two servants that we were supposed to find?
So they're dead. So did you talk to the Baron's youngest son about his stuff? I think you did, right? The one with the
Yes.
doll.
Yeah, yeah. We found out about that.
They
So he was
teleported them.
experimenting with that teleport circle. It's
Yeah.
a good thing you didn't go in there, by the way.
Oh.
Killed you.
Oh,
Shit. Oh my god.
That's why he wanted you to go into. Oh, that was so funny. This is another plot thread that never transpired. I baited you guys perfectly into thinking that was a viable option into
yeah.
the castle. And I was just
We planned
waiting
it.
for you to use it.
I'll
'cause
be
it would have
honest.
killed
I think if it wasn't for the invasion,
you. I know. I
we
had to make a
probably-
choice between the invasion and fulfilling my evil plan, but in the end, I've
Wow, that's so evil.
terrible.
Jesus.
So he was basically doing experiments to trivia, and
Right.
he obviously wasn't a very good wizard. So he experimented on the Baron's 2 servants, and they ended up vaporized.
Oof.
I think we kind of
So
gathered
what was
that from
wrong?
what he
What was wrong with the teleportation circle? Then? Does it not
He's just
say?
a shitty wizard, like he just couldn't get it to
Hmm.
work.
probably probably
Experimental.
too low level to actually cast it potentially.
Yeah.
Terrible.
Was there any way to save Casimir? Not that we wanted to.
Yeah, you could have just not sent him to his death.
I mean, this is. I
No,
think
no,
this
no,
is
no,
another
no.
the
As in,
assumption
like
after.
after the rock picked him up and took
Yeah.
him.
Oh right, yes.
Was
If
there
you
any
had
way
chosen to
to
go
save?
after him, yeah, you would have had a little combat sequence, but it would have been quite tricky. There's also like a big evil goat thing that's walking around, and it would have tried to knock you off the bridge.
The fuck?
Okay.
Goat.
Big birds
Right.
and big goats.
Yeah, it's like a weird area.
Wow.
It would have been very difficult, honestly. I don't know. Stealth it the whole way and try and smuggle them out. There would have been like baby rocks that it was feeding, so you'd have to like pluck him out of the nest and make off with him. But again, all homebrew. Like I don't know.
Now you've covered this question kind of, but I just want to just on a roundabouts figure number here. How
Well,
many allies did Xyril, Eirril, and Jafar actions cost them?
It's better. I don't know. I mean, there's a few dozen. There's a couple dozen were ravens. You lost all their. Like I said, the town guard. There's like 30 town guards stated in
It's
the
probably
book, so
easier
you
to
lost
count it the other way.
all- Yeah.
No, we did.
How many
we did
allies
get
did
friends.
they have?
Like
Well, no, we
Rictovstein-
got Pluto. No, Hans.
Hans,
But
he
he got
died.
killed. Yeah.
Oh, the racist guard. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he helped us fight the Vistani. He was like,
Hans
Yeah.
is cool. He was funny. I
He
like
was funny.
Hans.
and you
Yeah, that
know
was fun.
Casimir, but he died.
he was never really our ally though. He just.
Well, it's close enough.
Quite
About as,
racist
about
about-
an ally we could get in this place. And then Rictavio, I guess, was the only other one.
It would have been very difficult, but if you had been convincing enough, he could have sided with you.
Oh, Rictavio.
hmm.
Yeah, I think persuading anyone while Xyril was mad would not have panned out.
Yeah. So yeah, but yeah, we've kind of answered that one.
So I'm skipping a couple because we've
Mhm.
answered them as
Mhm.
well. What were some of the more interesting rooms in Castle Ravenloft?
So this could literally take up like a whole session in itself because the castle's so big. So I can't really go through it now. But basically, the castle's this huge, like 6-7 floor thing, and it's just filled with like all these NPCs and like puzzle rooms and like trap rooms.
So it is a whole thing,
Like-
then. Like it's
It's a whole thing because Strahd kind of wants people to come and like he just kind of like wants to toy with them. We'll see how they do. So I mentioned before he's got brides just hanging around in there. He has an accountant in there.
What does he need an accountant for?
I don't know. He's just chained to a desk. He probably just is torturing him like he tortures everyone else. It's. I will mention though. It would be very difficult to traverse, especially the entire castle, because like, this Strahd basically has unlimited minions in here,
Wow.
and if you killed anyone important, Strahd can get the abbot to revive them, so they would just come back.
Fuck.
Good.
What, immediately or that would
Not
take
like
time?
immediately, but like yeah, he could go to the abbot and say, "Hey, revive this person for me." And the abbot would do it. There's lots of
Wow.
traps and puzzles in here. There's a lot of teleport traps, which would have potentially split you because the teleports go all over Barovia.
Oh, that'd have been bad.
Oh, so that's what the T was. that you
Yes, that
accidentally
was what the
revealed.
T was for. Yeah, it's one of the teleports. Lots and lots across all the maps. So worth pointing out that if you had been teleported to around the Amber Temple, it would have basically meant death because of the cold.
Yeah.
Right.
If you had
trying
to
to-
shoot yourself.
Without any of the gear.
Yeah, so yeah, it's too big to cover. One fun fact: there's 6 entrances.
6.
Wow. How many maps is it? Out of like
Um,
20.
roll 20 maps. How many maps is it?
so roll 20 maps. It is.
My guess is
2,
20.
3,
Before you say it
4,
has,
5.
before you say it has, everyone gets a number. I'm going with 20.
12.
I was thinking. I was
12.
gonna say 12 as well, actually, but
14.
we'll go with 10.
14.
We'll go 10.
Maybe I
Yeah.
exaggerated a bit much, but it's 8.
Oh.
Like,
Oh.
well, I mean, it goes like, so there's maps 1, there's maps 2, 3, 4. Then there's one which is maps 6 to 10, which is just like aggregated. And then there's like 11, 12 are separate ones. There's
They're
a
probably
separate thing.
huge.
So
Mm.
they're really big maps. It's like a lot going on.
So what number did that go up to? 12?
So 12 it went up to, yeah.
Okay, so Arthur one.
Yeah.
There's a point of
Money.
inspiration you don't need.
Can I have a point of inspiration that I'll keep for War of Ages?
Can I have? I never used mine for Ichiro or for Ichiro when I got
I'll
it.
allow you to carry over existing ones. But
Wow.
Oh.
I have to make a note.
you have to earn it. I
Let's
can
see
show
if
you
I
the
earn
ice-
that.
Did I guess the right number?
Nah, I can show you the isometric maps if you want to see.
Mm,
I'm curious, but
well, if we got any time at the end, because we've still got 4 more.
yeah.
I'll kind
yeah.
of put them on in the background while you guys are asking questions.
What level up opportunities did we completely RP ourselves out of?
The Wizards of the Wine was one, and then by extension, you cut yourself off from Yester Hill, and what's the other place? Actually, no, sorry, yeah, just those two. Failing to stop the church attack in Valaki, that was one.
Right.
Failing to do anything with Irina, that was probably. Not really deciphering all the tarot cards.
It's quite a few then.
So is each tarot card level
It's
up?
a lot of
then?
failure.
Yeah, it's a lot
So-
of failure. Considering we're level 10 with what we did, like we could have
I
leveled up
mean,
to ridiculous.
again, the
amount.
book doesn't give strict guidance on this kind of. The book leaves like a lot to you. Like
Yeah.
it kind of gives you obviously the framework, but then like these kind of like decisions are kind of more up to the DM. So
I mean-
I chose to tie a milestone to each tarot card reading,
So,
and
what level are you
Big area.
supposed to be at the end of this thing?
so the official guidance to the module is levels 1 to 10.
Oh, okay, so we were at the max level for the campaign then, really.
Yeah, but
In a way.
I would have allowed you to go higher because
Yeah,
I
yeah.
believe you could beat Strahd in your if I played him properly.
Also has like homebrewed a bunch of extra shit to kill
Yeah.
us. So.
That doesn't, yeah.
There's a
Yeah,
lot
I mean,
stronger.
yeah, like I crafted the encounters and stuff dangerous. Again, it was all about giving you guys like the illusion danger. I wanted you to feel like you could die.
Yeah,
I felt
I don't
dangerous.
that definitely felt that.
Yeah.
For sure.
I felt the danger to the point that I had 2 characters that died.
Yeah. I am
So, yeah.
surprised I survived. Xyril survived as long as he did. I
Uh,
really am.
Howard.
Misty Step, man. Misty Step.
Misty Step.
He's a sneaky
He
bastard.
is.
Yeah.
All of his
this is-
spells were
You see
geared
danger,
towards
you run.
teleporting away. Everything he
Yeah.
had was all
Yeah.
designed. No wonder he got killed
Well,
first.
that's why you got eaten, man.
Yeah, tell me about
Yeah,
it.
that's why he was eaten.
There was a plot thread with like werewolves as well, which you didn't really pick up on. Like, I don't know. There's quite a bunch of stuff, but eventually, I mean, I wouldn't have just kept giving out levels. I would have probably reached a point where I'd be like, okay, you're
Yeah,
not going to
yeah.
get any
I
more.
can't
Or
imagine
been
we'd
a bit
ever.
more strict about level giving.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I doubt we would have been like 20. I probably.
Well,
what,
we
12,
had already
14.
said that. Essentially, after the Amber Temple, there was nothing really left.
Yeah, we would have. Yeah,
Anyway.
we would have. I
Yeah,
think.
we would have gone from.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
would have gone.
I think
I thought-
realistically, most groups would have that where they'd get to a point where they're like, because you're not going to go. It's unlikely each group would go to every single
Well,
place.
this is
and
it,
do
and you're
every
not going to
single-
just start walking in a random direction until you find something. It's not
Yeah.
Skyrim.
Like,
you're
why
not
would
gonna-
you go to Perez? Like, there was no reason for you to
No.
go there. So.
Yeah.
Okay. You said you messed up Xyril's madness. How?
So this is like another homebrew thing, which is kind of why I messed it up. But I found a thing on like additional dark gifts,
Right.
and my plan was Strahd was always going to kill someone and revive them with a kind of slightly corrupted nature.
Right.
Nothing as drastic as the Amber Temple, but like something.
So okay.
But when I got to it, I couldn't find. I thought I bookmarked the page and I couldn't find it. So I was like, "Shit! I've already killed Xyril. And I didn't mean to because I wanted him to come back."
Right.
So I just was like, "What else can I do?" I know there's long-term madness, so I just rolled long-term madness.
It wasn't even long term. It was indefinite madness.
Oh, sorry, yeah, indefinite. But yeah, my original intent was I wanted to kill someone and bring them back with some kind of dark addition, which would kind of set the tone for the campaign.
So would that have given me a benefit then, as well as the floor, or
It
not?
would have kind of just. I can't remember what I found. No, I don't think so. But it's not as strong a flaw as like the Amber Temple. Where you get really bad traits.
Just
It's more
been
just like a little.
subtle.
You know, yeah, like a little reminder of okay, we're in like a dark place. Like we need to be careful.
Yeah.
You know, it's like a constant, carryover of what he did to you.
I think to be entirely fair, we survived for a very long time, or I should say, you guys survived for a very long time for people who weren't particularly careful.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true.
Well, you say
Like you
this.
got more you got more careful as you went on. But I
Yeah.
remember watching the videos, and
Yeah.
trust me, very little care originally.
Yeah, but also you got to remember, like, we lost a lot of people. We were
Yeah.
just, we weren't very careful,
to.
but then when shit hit the fan, we teleported away.
You ran.
So
Yeah.
we left a lot of threads half done because it was like this shit got too much, so we just legged it.
We learned from our mistakes.
Yeah.
So
Somewhat.
yeah,
If you're interested, again, this kind of comes back to like what I call like the illusion of like dangerous stuff, because I didn't want to outright just keep killing people constantly. So yeah, it was kind of like walking that fine line between like I want to give you dangerous stuff or stuff that feels dangerous, but you're not going to keep dying. But I mean, yeah,
That's
I mean,
Strahd, though.
obviously-
It's Strahd at the same time because
Yeah.
like his purpose was to like we were like his source of fun in this 10 years or so.
yeah, exactly.
And,
Yeah,
and so you would like to see how far can they get before I go. They're dead now.
yeah. Like it is kind of a shame for me that I didn't get to do the increasing combat encounter stuff, which I wanted to do. But again, that was just like I didn't want to bog you down with combat.
yeah, I think it would have been.
That's what-
Yeah.
I get that.
Yeah.
It would have been something that would have set the tone in a continuous session. We probably would have done probably like 40, maybe even 50 sessions
Yeah.
total
Yeah.
with all the combat, and it would have felt better if it was like week after week after week. 'Cause
Yeah.
Yeah.
we would have a level of flow.
Yeah. That being
'Cause
said,
we
though,
don't-
I
we
thought.
didn't have that flow
Yeah.
with it.
That being said, though, I think without that, and even at the rate that we were playing, it still felt dangerous, and like we could die at any moment. Like
Oh, yeah.
every encounter could be our last encounter. I think
That's good.
without
That's
having
kind of-
those random encounters and having that increasing difficulty and things you were saying, I think we still got that with what we did.
That's good then.
I was
That's-
worried
that's
about
kinda
taking a long rest every time.
Yeah,
I mean, we had
well,
the
this is it.
hut at the end.
Well,
but
that
before
even
that,
even that, like shit, where are we gonna rest? Like if we did not have
Yeah.
the hut, because we were completely RPing ourselves out of every settlement. Literally, we had the windmill and that was it. Like
Yeah.
you know, and that's not in a great location. It was like
The hut
yeah,
ruined so many plans because there was no way
And
for
that-
me to penetrate it other than the hag.
Yeah.
And that's why I had two characters. I had to pick two characters that, well, at least when Ichiro came back, 'cause I had Asifa had it once we leveled up to the right level to do it, and then once Asifa died, I had to have another character that still facilitated at least a safe rest.
Yeah, I mean that was crucial. I mean, fun tidbit. It wasn't finalized because I realized I couldn't get through your hut. But these were the drafts of the visions I was going to send to you two. But I couldn't get through the hut, so it didn't really work out.
Were you putting this on?
I'll just put
In
it
this
in
chat.
Discourse, but
I'll read it after. Yeah, that isn't like speaking as a player that came in at like level 7, level 8, where you're meant to feel quite powerful. I did not at all feel powerful.
not at any
I
point.
Ichiro did not feel
I
down.
not once did I feel powerful. I felt like I am fucked. The only time I felt powerful was after Claw got the strength bonus in the Amber
Yeah.
Temple.
that was
Hacked
really
that
fun.
lich to death.
Yeah, that
was-
lich was
that was
probably the only.
insane.
Yeah,
Even the Arcanolaf, like you guys did really well.
yeah.
yeah, we.
Say
But yeah,
he wanted to stop you going in. That's why he teleported down to you. If he stayed up there, it would have been really.
the funny thing with that is like I thought we powered through stuff in the like all the fights in the Amber Temple. We powered through even the bandits and the
Yeah.
3 demi liches and stuff. We just like creamed everything.
you
There
handled
was,
the combat really well.
and like
I thought you'd get a lot more
I
banged up.
thought I don't know whether it was by design, but I felt safe in a sense. And then the golem comes along and absolutely batters the shit out of us.
So that's funny because that's why I boosted its HP because I was like, you know what, it's time to reintroduce.
It's
something
just like
into this campaign.
it was just like oh my god.
We have been doing so well.
Yeah.
Oh god.
Yeah.
the way I looked at it, I was like, okay, you guys have had a chance to your new like dark gifts and stuff. So now we're gonna give you something which is just gonna like smack you back down,
Yeah.
basically.
That was definitely getting off the high horse and the yeah for sure.
That was funny because it performed even better than I.
That was down to a certain like individual trying to kill us.
Conan Colds.
You know, that really
He
did
got
us
hit
in.
by 2.
That's true as well. Yeah.
Two kind
So-
of chords.
Still, oh, I forgot to mention the funny moments. It's not really like a campaign thing, but I thought it was so funny that you all thought I just ran that combat
It
encounter.
genuinely was just like, wow, Haiss, that's a push.
And
Yeah.
you never thought that the dog, which was under Matt's control, might have done it. Didn't
Well,
it?
in my head, I wasn't sure if you were like, obviously the humans are going to be cautious about where they're walking, but the Hellhound might be less so. So
Well,
you might have
did
asked Matt to roll.
Did anyone
like,
else
privately.
know Infernal? I know some of us
I
knew
do.
Abyssal.
No, I knew
I do.
Abyssal. I didn't know if Infernal.
Xyril knows Infernal.
Because part of the commands that that he could give were only an Infernal
Right.
to the dog.
Mm,
But then that's assuming that he'd heard it, so he might not have done.
yeah.
Yeah.
He was
I
at
mean,
you
there was
would- it
ample
would've-
opportunity to-
Part of the thing he would have been was be like follow and stuff,
Mm.
or would have been like go, and he would try to be like sly with his intentions.
Yeah.
But his purpose was to like, make
Yeah.
you either weaken. It was his final test to weaken you to see if we were going to go on to Strahd, or if he was like, well, you're not going to win in the end, are you? So I might as well kill you all now and become a lich.
Terrible.
Makes sense.
Polymorph's just too OP, man.
But it's only beasts. That T-Rex was basically the biggest thing I
T-Rex
could
is
ever.
the biggest thing you
Yeah.
can get as a beast.
And so it's like it's only because we were level 10 that it actually was that effective.
Mm.
Mm.
And obviously I had the giant ape as well.
Yeah.
But the T-Rex was literally the biggest thing I could have ever have really picked.
Yeah.
So it was quite fortunate on my end. And that was a CR8.
Wow.
The T-Rexes.
What a beast.
What would have happened if we actually managed to kill Strahd?
So I can read you out the epilogue text. If you like.
Well, this is based
Uh,
on because I did this one because you were saying that obviously he comes back every few months or whatever, but you were talking
Mhm.
about Mordekainen doing him in,
Yes.
and
So-
that means
Mhm.
if we had done that, we would have killed him
Yes,
and he wouldn't have come back.
Yes, he would have been permanently vanquished. Yeah. I can read you the text if you want. Then, so basically, what would have happened is when you reduce Strahd to 0 HP, he automatically turns into mist, and you can't hit him. And he goes back to his coffin, and you have to kill him in his coffin, and the Heart of Sorrow needs to be dead as well. So there's like a few conditions. So assuming you did all that, Strahd can't hide his surprise as death takes him into the black abyss. Surprise turns to rage, and the pillar stone of Ravenloft trembles with fury, shaking dust from the ceiling of the vampire's tomb. The shudders abate as Strahd's burning hatred melts away, replaced at last with relief. The dark orbs of his eyes wither and sink into his skull as his corpse deteriorates before you. In a matter of moments, only bones, dust, and noble garb remain. Strahd von Zarevich, the Dark Lord of Barovia, is dead and gone.
Damn.
Wow.
And
Cool.
obviously, in your case, it would have been permanent, so he would have been permanently defeated. In which case, the castle would also have collapsed, and you would have seen black. Like there was I was going to write up like a whole scripted thing for it, but I didn't really get around to it. But generally, it would have been like smoke
would have
rising up
been
into like a column,
crushed, surely.
dissipating. You would have time to run out. It would
Oh,
probably be
okay.
like collapse around you.
It's one of those
Okay.
typical film ones where it's
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
you all
Like,
run
yeah.
out.
Conveniently
Type
falls
thing, yeah.
right where you've run already.
yeah, yeah, literally. So
Don't worry, it's not going to hit me.
Yeah.
See?
Exactly.
There you go.
there's an additional bit if Irina survived, which I can tell you if you want.
Sure.
did she
I'm
survive?
curious.
Thick clouds fill the sky. Through the chilly morning mist, the land of Barovia is visible from below. There is peacefulness here. Resters come to the valley for the first time anyone can. A light flashes behind you. Wheeling round, you see a stately man, a being of flesh and blood, in shining armor and a flapping cape. His countenance shows great strength of will, yet the forcefulness of his presence is tempered by his calm, sad eyes. His features are those of Strahd, yet subtly different. His voice is calm and peaceful. My name is Sergei von Zarevich. He turns to Irina, to Tanya. The time is at hand to rest. Come, my love and wife. He stretches forth his hands. It's quite a lot, but basically, I'll just summarize it. Take his hand, and the curse is broken, and she vanishes with Sergei. Because Sergei's like her true love. It's
Yeah,
not
yeah.
Strahd.
Wow.
Damn.
That would have been nice.
Yeah, so if only, right?
Yeah, nice end for them.
If only.
Sweet.
If only. Huh.
Okay, last question. What was the deal with the huge invasion of Valaki?
So what do you guys know about this? Because this is one of those funny things where
I don't think we really know much because we know that it was hoarded by vampires from somewhere,
Mm.
which we assume. I think we saw. Did we see Strahd? I can't remember. I
Uh,
don't know if we saw him. I
can't
can't remember. But
We didn't. It was like
just
like
vampires.
a countess vampire lady,
And
like
then-
seemingly powerful.
And then
I wasn't there, so I don't know.
yeah, and then they destroyed
We
the
went there.
church of the Sun Lord, whatever it was, and
Mm-hmm.
then the woman was in charge.
Yeah, so the one we tried to steal from.
the Lady Wakta. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's funny actually because there's a lot you guys are missing. So basically, Valaki was actually protected by some holy bones which are buried beneath the church.
Right.
Now, what happened is that someone stole those bones and basically moved them somewhere else. This is all orchestrated by Strahd, by the way, in the background, because he decided it was time for like a show of strength to show the people of Valaki that they aren't safe, basically.
Hmm.
Because people kind of, getting a bit like too cocky, thinking that they can defeat Strahd, or sorry, resist Strahd. So it all came to a head this night, where there's a coffin maker's place where the vampires were hiding out. So they all burst out and they basically razed the church. Strahd himself was there that night, so he was walking around, and he basically publicly like murdered the priest of the church, and kind of just shows people that like, yeah, I'm in charge, and you're not safe from me here. I can reach you even here. He wiped out the Baron and his entire family, and the Lady Wakta, who is a Strahd supporter, was instilled as the new leader of Valaki. And had you gone in, you would have seen her men patrolling around the old town guard. So basically, yeah, it's this thing called St. Andrew's Feast. That's the name of the event, where basically Strahd has orchestrated this whole thing to get the bones of St. Andrew out from where they are under the church protecting people. And yeah, invade Valaki and destroy it, pretty much.
Why were they protecting them? The bones.
It doesn't really go into detail. It just says that these are like holy bones, which they actually do Strahd back while
Should've-
they're there.
We should have taken those and put it in our clothes.
So if you had
Saw the
gone
cross.
around,
Yeah.
you could have got the bones and put them back.
Right.
In which case you would have saved the church. You could have also maybe stumbled across the vampires and killed all of them. So
They were
there were like
tough,
there were like a couple of things you could have.
Yeah, because we did try and fight some, but they just
Mm.
were really strong. At
I
the
mean,
level.
during the invasion, it's kind of too late. You would have probably died had you stayed.
Yeah.
The idea is to stop the attack before.
Oh, right, I
And
see.
funnily enough, Jafar did know something was going on with the church, but he didn't follow up on it.
Oh, did he? Right, okay.
He spoke to the priest, didn't he?
He did speak to the priest, and the priest said to
Yeah.
him that we've got this issue, but nobody followed up on it. So the invasion went ahead.
Just didn't really care.
Yeah. That's the problem.
Which again is
Our
like a drawback of
characters-
playing.
Yeah.
Because the
It's,
other
it's
group-
Mark.
Mhm.
Sorry.
No, I was just saying the other group did help, and therefore they stopped the invasion. Therefore, the Baron was still in power. I mean, the reason they saved it mainly was because the Baron supported them, and they didn't want their biggest supporter to be killed.
Mm.
But regardless of the reason, yeah, they stopped the attack.
Freaky.
Had you saved Valaki, Strahd would have given it as one of your potential missions during your dinner. I decided he would have said to you, if you take the bones out and let me take Valaki, that'll also be like a service you can do for him.
I don't think we ever
that would have been
planned to do
interesting,
any
guys.
of those things. Like,
So those are all homebrew stuff anyway. So if you had
Yeah.
done it, I just was going to make up some stuff for it.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's craziness. That is, yeah. But it is
So, yeah,
interesting
it's-
to play a campaign with like, it's a very you have a clear enemy, you know,
Mm.
and it's not just like the enemy's in a castle somewhere. He is getting in your face, like you appear up periodically to mess up your day, and it is
That's what-
very much you against him thing.
That's why I really liked the sound of it, because
Yeah.
it's kind of you against the DM in the sense that
Yeah.
you're playing as Strahd. And I was intending to. I mean, can I show you guys his character sheet?
What on here?
Yeah, go on.
You should be able to.
I was intending to play
You can
him.
add it to our journals.
How do I?
If you find his character sheet, then
Can you guys see this? Can you see his
Yeah,
character sheet?
I can see. Yeah.
not yet.
can
There's
see his
if you
bio
go
and
to,
hand
if you go to
out.
edit, and then you can add,
In all
players.
players' journals, it says.
and then if you can add it, there's like a character. If you say edit, and then probably we could do the character sheets.
it says that you all should have access to it.
So if I go into...
I mean, if not, I can kind of summarize like he's a CR 15 base. He's got 16 AC, but with his armor, with that enchanted armor, it goes up to 20. So his legendary actions are the interesting ones. So he's a 9th level spellcaster, but he can only cast spells up to 5th slot. So, but anything up to level 5, I was gonna like pick from. His legendary actions are basically making the additional unarmed strikes that he kept hitting Claw with. And also, he can move up to his speed without provoking opportunity attacks.
Ooh. And
Just
his
teleport
speed's
around.
fast, isn't
And
it?
he's very quick, yeah. I mean, if he that's what I was saying. If he dashes, or like really wants to go all out, he can move really fast. Which is why I kind of didn't think you guys could beat him, because it would have just been you guys chasing him throughout the castle. He would have kept spawning stuff to slow you down. If you did decide to ever rest in Tiny Hut, you would have just been surrounded when you came out.
Yeah.
That's a legit. I mean, Ichiro did kind of want you outside because he could do T-Rex, but it was also a legit concern in if we had Tiny Hutted. If we rest, because you rest for like 8 hours and it disappears straight away.
Yeah. So yeah,
So
you
there's
would have.
no way to prepare
Yeah.
beforehand really without not completing your long rest.
Yes. I mean, who knows what would have happened? But my personal thought is that you wouldn't have been able to beat him unless maybe in chasing him all over the castle you'd come across the symbol. Who knows? But yeah.
I think there's a possible chance we could have, but because it's the dizzying heights, it depends on whether we would have had the urgency to go up.
Probably
Yeah.
not, because we assumed we had satisfied it.
Yeah, that's
We
the problem.
thought we satisfied it with the Raven
No, as in,
Argon Vostok.
not in the sense to satisfy the tarot card, as in while chasing after Strahd, we think, oh, we'll go up.
I mean, the paralysis is really, really handy. It would basically
Yeah.
stop me doing my whole plan, which was basically just keep wearing you down and retreating.
Yeah. I think the only reason we would have gone up there is if we figured he must be that must be where his room is, in like the tallest point.
Yeah.
Because that's usually where these things are.
It's a cool castle, though.
It is, yeah. And if you're interested, it never really factors into this campaign, but I was going to not do it any this way anyway. But he does have certain weaknesses that vampires have, which is he can't enter like a residence without an invitation. Running water stops him, so he can't cross like a river or something. Or he could, but you'd get hurt. If you staked him in the heart, he would have been paralyzed. Stuff like that. Although the Forbiddance one is the one I was going to remove. So the way I see it is because he is the lord of the entirety of Barovia, he can choose to just go in anywhere he wants.
This is my house.
But but he would have. It was. I mean, it's never factored into the campaign, but he respects it to like an extent. But he might have just walked into somewhere just to show you that he doesn't have to. If he doesn't want to.
You pay taxes to me. I own this shit.
Exactly. Yeah.
But yeah, that's Strahd. So yeah, it would have been a very difficult fight.
That's it for questions.
Yeah.
Unless anyone else has any more.
Yeah. Anyone else got anything else that's popped up?
I've got a really weird one. You know, Strahd had that weird elf dude that we just heard screaming from.
Yeah.
What was his deal?
So Rahadin he's a dusk elf, but he's like very loyal to Strahd. In fact, if you kill Strahd and he's alive, he like cries and goes like berserk with grief. He served Strahd for like 500 years.
Wow.
Damn.
So the screams you hear are basically he's killed so many people in his lifetime that it's kind of similar with the spirits that are haunting you guys, except on a humongous scale. And it's so potent that, again, remember I'm not homebrewing some of this, but the screams is real in the book, but I'm homebrewing the reasons. But they're so potent that you hear it even, like in the material plane. It says here he's killed thousands of men, and he says, I will slaughter thousands more to preserve the von Zarevich legacy.
Wow.
Fuck.
Claw would have hated him.
Crazy.
With the resurrection, I don't know if I said it in session, but the resurrection gift.
Yes.
What were the restrictions on that? Like, could we? Is it because I know with more like normal resurrection spells, you kind of need to know them or at least to have their corpse or whatever. Were there any restrictions like that? Could we have could could we have revived somebody that we didn't
So
necessarily...
Sergey.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
Sergey, for example, or Argynvost, or someone like ridiculously strong.
My
That is
only,
opposed
my
to
only
him.
requirement was that you have to be able to touch the remains, which I think's something from the original spell. So
Right.
Sergei's body is actually in the castle. So had
Right.
you chosen to use it on
But
him, you could have.
Argynvost, we could have done. We could have gone to Argynvost hole, and the skull
Yes, you
was
could
there.
have. In
Yeah.
which case, you would have had a dragon.
Bones are there, yeah.
Um,
What was the
Sick.
caveat?
I tweaked the gifts. So in fact, all the gifts you received, I improved them all slightly because in the
Oh.
standard book, they're a lot more capped. So Arthur, your finger of death, I'm
Mm.
pretty sure you can only use it once or twice, and then it goes forever.
Oh, and then
Right.
it's gone.
Yeah, so it's similar with all of them. You can only use them like once or twice each. Fade. So I improved all of them to make them a bit more meaningful. Basically,
What about the strength one? So what? We'd have a
the
plus
strength one
7.
stays. I think. Yeah.
Oh,
I mean,
okay.
things which are like stat boosts stay.
Yeah.
Anything which is like an ability, like Matt's Hellhounds, that's also capped. You can't. You use it a few times, then you can't use it anymore.
Oh.
Yeah. So I improved all the gifts because I feel like it's more meaningful. Because
Could you have had like
you're
6 dogs
making-
then?
Yeah, just
No,
keep
'cause-
using it.
No, you can only have 2 at a time.
Oh, I see.
You can only
I
have
think
2
it
at a
was.
time. But
That'd been ace.
yeah, but yeah, like yeah, I think it would definitely the one that comes to mind because I know that's capped like once, and there it goes.
I did have a quick scan of the book, and I did see. That was an interesting one, and I think it said that after you do it 3 times, you may have to make a saving throw or fall to 0 HP.
That's it. Yeah, it's like stuff like that.
Wow.
So yeah, I improved all the gifts because I kind of wanted to feel more like you are getting a power in exchange for the cost of something. You know,
Mm.
which, I mean, the personality traits are quite bad.
Yeah, those are pretty harsh.
They were
Bully
funny.
everyone.
They were really, really funny.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And,
I wasn't
I
really
was
sure
full-
how to take the bully stuff with Xyril because,
you
I
weren't
know.
mad though, so that's
No.
one of the weird.
but then
If you were mad, it would have probably wouldn't even bothered you at all.
no.
I think if you were mad, you would have accepted them for sure.
Oh, the gifts. Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah, I think he
I
would
will
have done that.
say I was expecting a fight to break out because, like I said, Matt's one that I crave power above all else is like a really dangerous one to have in the Amber Temple.
Thing is, getting the staff in there is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like, because
Yeah,
that's a
that's,
recipe for disaster. Because that
Yeah.
one,
You
That's
sealed
harsh
your
as hell.
destiny.
you know, I want, what was it like? You want
Crave power.
crave,
Yeah,
crave
crave
power, and then
Above
you
all else.
and you get that before you get to the gifts, which so you just like,
Yeah.
well,
no,
that's
it's,
it. I can't say no to any of these.
That's true.
Literally.
I mean, that wasn't a bad thing for
I've got to head
Ichiro.
off, guys.
Alright,
Alright.
worries.
No worries, buddy.
Well,
See you, man.
good Q&A.
The way I played the power above all else for Ichiro was that the above all else was still Strahd
Mm.
at that point in time, and so everything. So like because he had Ichiro had a thing with the. I know we're kind of discussed it before, but essentially he had a deal with the Abyss that if he had to take Strahd's soul or his soul was forfeit, and so. But the power above all else had to be a way to be able to circumvent that abyss, and so accepting all the gifts helped towards that because that would help to kill Strahd at the end, and then whatever was left of Strahd, that's power enough for Ichiro to then rule whatever. But then the Lich stuff took that gave it on cocaine and took it on stuff.
I mean, that's why I like the personality style because it's kind of open to interpretation. Because like I said, Matt played it quite well. I thought, which is kind of like more subtle. The other guy in the other group who got that staff, he was really. I mean, because they'd already found some sarcophagi, so they kind of knew what the deal was before they found the staff.
Right.
So he ended up basically running like he just sprinted off, and he just was literally just tapping at all the sarcophagi, accepting all the gifts, and it ended up in a big fight. And it was because none of the others accepted any gifts.
Wow.
So he was the only one who had gifts, and he also had the gift, which means he comes back when he dies, like 3 times. So they had to keep killing him like over and over again. And he kept. It's funny because when you come back in races. So he kept respawning as like different things.
Different race.
Yeah, part of I can't remember. It's like an actual
Regeneration, I think. Is it regeneration?
something like that. Yeah.
Something like that.
So he kept coming back as
Rejuvenation.
different races.
Or reincarnation? I can't something like that.
Yeah. So yeah. So that was quite funny.
Was there a caveat to the bringing people back then?
So in the book, you can only use it once. and then it's gone. I was going to change it to like once a year or something. Which
But would it
in the campaign it's
corrupt me?
effectively this. Sorry.
Would there be any corruption, personally, RP wise, character wise, or
There
visually? or
is
anything?
some kind of cost for that. It's actually not too bad because Matt. Well, I know it's something that Matt. It didn't affect Matt because he was already a lich. So let me look it up.
Hmm.
Yeah, that lich kind of like overrides a lot of those things.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because you're already like a
being a lich
skeleton,
does.
so certain
Yeah.
things happening don't
You're
really.
very
do anything
skeleton.
to
Yeah. Well, the way I see it is that part of the transformation for Lich is that it's you become like you don't need sustenance, you don't need anything. So
Mm.
over time, your body just starts to decay as
Naturally
you
decay, yeah.
continue to exist.
Yeah.
So at first, Ichiro probably looks normal, apart from the other gifts he accepted. So he had the whisper and
Hmm.
the eyes and whatever other shit that
Yeah.
was given to it. But then only after like time of like days, weeks, years, his body would start to decay, and then that would really just it would not look like he used to anymore.
So the book thing of this is that you take on a corpse-like appearance, which basically. But I was going to change it slightly to you actually become like an undead type thing, and you kind of start losing sensation and stuff.
Wow.
Wow.
But
Yeah, that wouldn't have been good.
yeah,
Who would Iroh have sort of revived though, out of interest?
his master. I think?
Yeah.
But then
Probably that's the
assuming
one
you have
that's
to get the
most to him.
assuming you need the remains though.
But that's the thing, he wouldn't be able to leave Barovia.
Well, I mean, I was going to do it like once a year, so like it was kind of like an epilogue thing. Like you could revive someone now, and in your epilogue you could say,
Oh,
"I'll
okay.
go back, revive them."
Well, yeah,
if
then it'll be
we-
tactical.
If we had
Yeah.
killed Strahd, then we could leave
Hmm.
Barovia. Then
Yes,
so,
you could leave before you came back.
Then he'd do it, yeah. But I mean, probably Argynvost being the most powerful ally. he
Argynvost
could
would have been a
think of.
complete game changer. I think he would.
Yeah.
With Argynvost, you would have completely crushed Strahd. I don't think there's a stat block for Argynvost, but
I mean, what's it?
well,
Silver
he's,
Dragon.
he's a Silver Dragon.
Taken
Yeah.
either probably ancient's probably too far, but like even an adult Silver Dragon would have been a good enough stat block.
wow. I mean, yeah, it's like a CR16, so on
Yeah.
its own, it would be a good match.
Ancient takes it too far. Like I wouldn't have. I don't think you would have.
I mean, technically, he probably is an ancient silver dragon.
pretty
I'd,
old,
I'd
yeah.
have to. If you did do that, I would like look into it
Yeah.
and see
That's
which
fair.
one I wanted to pick. I mean, ancient would basically be like he would
That's
just
it.
go and,
Like, there's no
raise
point.
Castle Ravenloft.
We
and,
would
like,
just ride
destroy
him
it.
to victory. Like there'd be no reason to worry then.
Mm,
Just
yeah.
like, hey, Mr. Argynvost, you know, we don't kill us because we revived you, and go kill Strahd, please.
Yeah.
Yes,
He
that
killed
would
you.
work.
Go kill, please.
Just make one persuasion check. That's it.
Yeah.
Done.
Sorted.
But yeah, that would have been quite funny.
Well, I think that's it then, isn't it? Like that's
Yeah,
that's
I
this
think
campaign
unless
wrapped.
anyone's got any other questions.
I don't think there are.
No. All right.
Cool.
Guess we call it. Then.
Wow, another campaign down.
Yeah, it's
campaign, yeah.
second full campaign. It's nice to get another one.
And then
Another
Another
one
way, I
back
think.
to dust.
then we start our other sort of backup one whenever.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I'm going to delete this Curse of Strahd one. Do
Nice.
you want to do anything before I remove it?
No.
Oh, archive it, yeah.
No, man, it's going.
No, it's
Are we
disappeared.
sure of deleting?
I'm deleting it. Yeah.
All the chats.
Yeah, export. Well, export. Oh, no, the D&E Beyond. I assume you mean.
Yeah, like the roll
Oh,
20.
I
the
forgot
roll
about
20
that.
I
delete.
thought you meant on Discord.
No,
yeah.
no, the Discord will just get archived.
Oh yeah, I'll
Yeah,
archive
yeah.
that. I forgot. Yeah, I'll remove it off D&D
Yeah.
Beyond as well.
I would export your character sheet because it once Haiss deletes it.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
He
oh, really? Oh shit! Yeah, I need to.
so
we
export your
mine, yeah.
character because like, if once he removes our link to our characters to that campaign, we lose any of the other like DM link stuff. So all the bonus stuff that you bought
Yeah, we'll
because of
just-
you,
yeah.
that'll all get taken off our characters.
Right. Should we?
Okay.
Should we call it? We'll end it there then. 3,